This chubby dude is Sang-woo, who complained about everything in life. Why bother with eating and sleeping when you could play games, drink, date, and travel? He wished he had two bodies to do things for him, and that wish came true. He was living in a hunter's world filled with many hunters with many special abilities. If you wanted an ability, you had to participate in the National Awakening program to help people awaken their powers, which meant stepping through a gate to stimulate the development process. The main character eagerly got in line to go through the gate. After stepping through, he gained the ability to clone himself. Currently, he was only at level 1 and could create one clone identical to the user by using energy. The maximum number of clones depended on the user's level. The original was connected to the clone, and the current number of clones he could summon simultaneously was one with a 24-hour cooldown. Sang-woo followed the theory, closed his eyes, imagined for a bit, and successfully created another clone exactly like himself. Sang-woo looked at the naked chubby guy in front of him. He asked in confusion, "Are you the clone? Can I touch you?" The clone had no reaction. It replied robotically, "Yes, master." Sang-woo suddenly felt incredibly awkward, his legs feeling stiff. He slapped himself to snap out of it, and then examined and touched his clone. He exclaimed, "This is a body of flesh and blood, not an illusion." Sang-woo then looked at the clone's Precious and told it to get dressed first. After they were both dressed, the two stood facing each other. He thought for the clone to sit down, and it immediately sat. Sang-woo found it interesting that it obeyed his thoughts without him speaking. He then thought for it to stand up, and the clone did so. Sang-woo told it to repeat, and the clone stood up and sat down a few times, already panting heavily, like a bull. It seemed this clone's physical strength was exactly the same as his. After a while of the clone standing and sitting, a notification board appeared. Sang-woo's strength increased by 0.01. At the park, Sang-woo's clone was running for its life. Every day it ran back and forth around the park for dozens of laps. The clone sat on a bench panting heavily. A kind old lady came over and offered it water, but the clone didn't care. It ignored the old lady and continued running. The old lady sighed. "Is this guy a pervert or what?" Sang-woo stood on the scale. His current weight was 78.4 kg. Lately he felt hungry and ate twice as much as before, but this month he still managed to lose 20 kg. He did nothing yet. His body got thinner every day, and it seemed he had grown a little taller. The system's status screen appeared again. His stamina and reflexes had increased a bit more. Sang-woo sat back down on the chair. He discovered a few things. First, he wasn't affected by the pain and exhaustion his clones endured. Second, the clones would only disappear if they were injured or used energy beyond their limit. Third, whenever his body changed, the clone would immediately copy his exact appearance. Fourth, even when he was far from the clone, he could still give orders just by thinking them in his head. And finally, a clone could not use a clone. Sang-woo tried searching the Hunter Wiki for data. A level 1 data was the limit for an unawakened adult. There were common data types and special data types, but most awakened individuals only had one common data: part selected and unlocked. Recovery resistance, strength, and intellect were some special data types, and there was no way to know the method to unlock these special data, except for a few exceptions. With just normal training, it was hard to increase even 0.001 of a stat per day. Sang-woo looked at his own stats. His total stat increase was already 0.39. Because his clones trained relentlessly and followed every command given. They always worked until they reached their limit, and that was why his data increased so quickly. Sang-woo wondered if his points would increase if he joined the training with his clones, but there was no way in hell he would join that kind of grueling training. Suddenly, Sang-woo saw an ad for a gym. He had a great idea. Sang-woo looked at the registration fee and package options and realized his account wasn't sufficient. Sang-woo sighed. Lately, he had been spending more on food. He should probably find a part-time job or something. His current workplace wasn't doing well recently. Sang-woo clattered on his computer searching. He planned to work as a construction laborer, which would both build his body and earn money. He browsed through a series of jobs. For the first few times, he had to go to work himself. The clone couldn't do jobs he had never experienced before. He stopped at a delivery job posting. He picked up the phone and called the recruiter. The phone rang for a while before someone picked up. He asked for information about the job posting. They told him he didn't need an interview just to come and start working. They then asked when he could start. Sang-woo said tomorrow. The person on the other end exclaimed, "Ah," and asked if he couldn't come today. Sang-woo was surprised to hear that. He declined, and the other side scheduled him for 6:30 p.m. the next day. The next day, Sang-woo went to the shipping company. To be safe, he brought a clone with him, but made it wear a mask and a hat covering its face. Sang-woo instructed it to answer well when working and that its name was Gion. While he was wondering where to go, someone suddenly called him. Sang-woo turned around and recognized an acquaintance, Uncle Deok-chil. He didn't quite recognize Sang-woo because he had lost so much weight. He pointed Sang-woo to a building, telling him to go in there. That was the office. Sang-woo, full of fighting spirit, prepared himself for work. He'd finish early and go home. After a while, he was panting heavily like a bull, damn it. His arms and legs were trembling. He had overestimated this job. It would probably take until tomorrow to finish. Sang-woo cried without tears. He should have just stayed home. Only the clone was being useful. After receiving the order for a 1-hour break, Sang-woo felt like he was about to die. Just then, Uncle Deok-chil brought him 2 cans of water, advising him to drink enough to replenish the sweat. The uncle also bought food. Sang-woo gratefully accepted it. Uncle Deok-chil sat down next to him and the clone. He looked at the clone and asked for its name. It worked like a horse, but was very quiet. The clone said the name Sang-woo had made up for it. The uncle turned to Sang-woo and asked if he was okay. It seemed this was his first time doing this kind of work. Sang-woo said he was quite tired. The uncle burst out laughing, praising them for being persistent. Most people would have quit by now. Sang-woo cried silently, crushing the can in his hand. If he weren't broke, he wouldn't need to do this damn job. The uncle asked which university he attended. He replied that he studied at Gangwon University. The uncle praised him, saying he must be very smart to get into that school. The uncle wished his daughter could also get into that school. Sang-woo comforted the uncle, telling him not to worry too much. He wasn't that smart, but still got in. The uncle was curious how he got in. He said he had some certificates and got in through special admission. The uncle burst out laughing. He thought for a moment, and then asked if he wanted to find another job. He asked what kind of job. The uncle told him to be a tutor for his daughter instead of torturing himself here. Sang-woo hesitated a bit. He thought about his bank account balance. He asked the uncle about the salary. The uncle said 50,000 won for a 2-hour session, 1 to 2 sessions a week. Sang-woo calculated 50,000 won for 2 hours was not a bad salary for the time spent. Sang-woo accepted. The uncle brushed off his clothes, stood up and said he would go home to discuss it with his daughter and then contact him. Sang-woo also stood up and stretched his back. Things were really going smoothly. The system showed a notification again. His stats increased by another 0.001. He was pleased. Getting a job and increasing his stats, what a deal. Just then, another uncle pushed out 2 boxes of goods and told them to keep moving. Sang-woo turned off the electronic board. He rummaged through the food bag to eat first before continuing. But while he was busy talking, the food bag was already sparkling clean. Looking over, he saw the clone chewing away without a care. Sang-woo froze a stiff smile on his face. "Damn it, you ate it all, you bastard." The next morning, Sang-woo ached all over. He cursed. From now on, he had to use number 1 for part-time jobs. Looking at his stats, they had inched up a bit more, proving number 1 was working very hard. He used telepathy to order number 1 to come home. He wanted to make it disappear by summoning it back, but that would mean losing the clothes. After Sang-woo finished breakfast, number 1 returned. He told it to take a shower and change, then ordered it to hold out its hand. Sang-woo, trembling, took a needle and pricked its finger. Blood oozed from the finger, but number 1 had no reaction. Sang-woo panicked, took a tissue to wipe the blood and asked if it hurt. Number 1 remained indifferent, expressionless. Sang-woo read the news on the Hunter wiki page. To unlock the regeneration skill, you could do the following. First, injure the body yourself. Second, let it heal on its own until no other outside help is needed. Third, repeat the first 2 steps until the skill is unlocked. Sang-woo was scared. He didn't dare to create a bigger wound. The thought of it was disgusting. For now, he would just keep creating small wounds. Sang-woo told number 1 to eat ramyun whenever it was hungry or finished work. He gave it a phone and told it to carry it when it went to work and to remember to answer the phone. With that, Sang-woo grabbed his bag and a flyer and went out. He looked for the address of the gym from the other day. While walking, he met an acquaintance, a tall, dark, and smelly young man who put his arm around Sang-woo's shoulder and asked how he was. Sang-woo was a bit startled, scowled, and pushed his hand away. This guy was Kim Gyong-do. He laughed heartily, saying Sang-woo had gotten so thin lately he must have lost a lot of weight. Sang-woo held up the flyer, saying he exercised every day now. He was on his way to the gym to work out. Gyeongdo also touched his own belly fat. He needed to exercise too. He asked which gym Sang-woo was going to. Sang-woo said the gym was called Flexible Body. Gyeongdo laughed loudly. He said that place was highly rated, and the personal trainers there were super beautiful. He followed Sang-woo to the gym. The two of them walked inside. The instructor saw them and hurriedly greeted them. He introduced a promotion. If you register for 3 months, it's only 160,000 won. Sang-woo didn't think much and registered for 3 months at once. After all, the clone would go to the gym for him. Sang-woo told him to show him the machines suitable for his body type. After paying, the two of them walked around. Sang-woo tried to lift weights but was out of breath after a few reps and sat up. The instructor praised his body for being quite nice and was about to introduce a machine when he heard a thudding sound from the other side. Turning around, he saw Gyeongdo lifting weights easily. Thudding like a bull after lifting, he even struck a few showing-off poses. The instructor exclaimed, "Wow!" and asked if he had ever done bodybuilding before. Gyeongdo laughed and said this was his first time. His physical strength had increased after awakening. The instructor then asked for his strength stat. He happily replied it was 2.1. Sang-woo, hearing the conversation, also realized, so the hunter skill Gyeongdo mentioned before was strength. But if just a normal skill increase made him that strong, how much stronger were higher-level hunters? There must be a reason why people only talked about hunters. Sang-woo felt his phone vibrate. He took it out to answer. The caller was Deokchil. The uncle called him about the tutoring gig. He asked if Sang-woo had time now to meet and talk for a bit. Sang-woo said yes, and the two agreed on a meeting place and hung up. Sang-woo went to Deokchil's apartment. He muttered, "That bastard Gyeongdo showed off so much but didn't even register. It's probably because there are no pretty PTs here, so he didn't bother. But that's good too, because now I don't have to worry about sending a clone to the gym anymore." Sang-woo stood in front of Deokchil's door and heard some noise from inside. He put his ear to the door to listen. Inside, the father and daughter were arguing about the tutor. The daughter didn't seem to want a tutor. Suddenly, the door swung open. Sang-woo smashed his face right into the door and fell to the ground. Deokchil stepped out, trying to sneak off to work when he saw Sang-woo standing outside. The daughter inside was also stunned. After a chaotic moment, Deokchil invited him into the house to sit. His wife brought out apples for him. He had gotten so thin lately that she barely recognized him. Sang-woo turned to the daughter. By now she had shed her aggressive demeanor from before and shyly introduced her name. The couple, Deokchil and his wife, whispered to each other, giggling. "The little one is shy." Haeun was still not over her embarrassment. She didn't know what else to say. Now she just wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Sang-woo must have heard everything earlier. Sang-woo acted as if nothing had happened. He talked about her academic problems. He asked her to show him her grades. Haeun shyly showed him. After seeing them, Sang-woo froze on the spot, unable to even crack a smile. The couple, Deokchil and his wife, looked at each other and giggled. Deokchil grabbed his coat and rushed out, saying he had to go to work. Sang-woo also noticed the girl's embarrassment. He told her not to worry. His SAT scores weren't that high back in the day either. He had a lot of tips for this test. Haeun brightened up. Excited Sang-woo started teaching. After finishing, he went home. He still had a lot of work to do. But luckily that girl Haeun was bright. Sang-woo sat down on the chair again. He told himself that number 1 must have gone to work. He had given it the spare phone, but if the number of clones increased, preparing many phones would be a hassle. Sang-woo went back to the Hunter web to search for skills. He saw an urgent sale for a telepathy skill that could link senses with pets and summoned creatures, allowing them to share vision. The price was 100 million. Sang-woo scrolled past another ad, a telepathy skill scroll for 400 million. Sang-woo muttered, "If I had that much money, I'd just buy a damn house skills and abilities. It'll take a lifetime to afford these things. Can hunters really afford this stuff so rich? And this is considered a low price." Sang-woo opened his phone again to check his bank account balance. 233,001. He threw the phone and collapsed on the bed. Screw it. He wondered if he should become a hunter. Sang-woo scrolled through some news and saw the luxurious lives of A-rank hunters. He sat up straight, thinking again. That skill was a great skill. With it, he could conveniently order his clones to do trivial tasks. Sang-woo put on his jacket. "If I'm going to be a hunter, I'll be a hunter." He went straight to the hunter center. He stretched his arms. He wondered if he had just unlocked vitality or not. Even though he only slept for a few hours, he still felt refreshed. Sang-woo went inside, curiously looking around. It seemed not many people came for the test. The receptionist announced there were 20 minutes left to register for the hunter ability test on basement level 1. Sang-woo followed the instructions downstairs. He opened the door to the hunter certification test room. There were a bunch of people already waiting inside. Sang-woo didn't dare to say anything more. He sat down in an empty spot. After a while, 3 people walked in. The short, burly man in the lead was Han Myung-hwan. He was a C-rank hunter and also the exam proctor. He explained that the ability test consisted of a written test, a practical test, and an aptitude test. Anyone caught cheating would be disqualified from this exam and not allowed to take next year's exam. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Then the test began. In some car, CEO Kang of the JM company was being pressured to pay the deposit. He promised to pay it all this month. After hanging up, he looked at his watch. The hunter test should be over by now. He had to get there quickly to sweet talk. Sang-woo finishing the test felt like walking through a dream. He had now passed the test and was an F-rank hunter. He couldn't believe it. People always said it was easy. He was wondering how easy it could be. It turned out to be just like getting a driver's license. The questions on the written test were quite easy. You just needed to remember a few things. They gave plenty of time to practice for the practical part, and the targets were quite close. The aptitude test was like a civics class at school asking one question, and then you were out. This job involved using weapons and risking your life, yet the test was so superficial. Sang-woo couldn't quite believe it, as if the government wanted them to do this. Sang-woo sighed. He saw a crowd in the distance. He wondered if they belonged to an organization that recruited hunters. Suddenly, someone from behind held out a business card. Congratulations on passing the hunter test. This person was CEO Kang from earlier. He introduced himself as Kang Jun-mo and told him to contact him whenever he wanted to buy items or find monsters to hunt. He would get the lowest price. Sang-woo awkwardly thanked him. Suddenly, the system's notification board appeared in front of him. His clone skill had leveled up to level 2. The maximum number of clones he could create at the same time was now 2. Without waiting for CEO Kang to finish his introduction, Sang-woo hurriedly ran off, leaving behind a "I'll contact you later." CEO Kang trembled, crying silently, tears and snot flowing inward. "Please remember to contact me." Sang-woo laughed maniacally. Clones were awesome. He named the newly created clone number 2 and pulled out the business card he had picked up today, preparing for his journey as a hunter. CEO Kang tiredly threw the rest of his business cards onto the adjacent seat. He silently hoped people would contact him. Kang Jun-mo looked out the glass door. He recalled the conversation with his superior at the headquarters. The superior threw a stack of papers at him, assigning him to disperse the money recorded on the list. Kang Jun-mo flipped through a few pages to see the numbers inside. He found the amounts a bit strange. The blood price of a goblin was at least 5 million. His boss said out of context that he needed to be smart. If they always followed the rules and only did the right thing, they'd be eating dirt. The boss put his coffee cup down on the table, patted Kang Jun-mo's shoulder. "I know you're very upright, but don't be too sensitive about business here." Kang Jun-mo trembled, clutching the stack of papers, unable to say another word. He felt a headache coming on. If he had known beforehand, he should have just kept his mouth shut. Suddenly his phone rang. He took it out to answer. The person on the other end was Sang-woo. He had something to ask. They arranged to meet at a coffee shop. When Jun-mo arrived, Sang-woo was already sitting there. They talked for a moment. Sang-woo wanted to hunt in a safe place that was suitable for a rookie. Jun-mo asked about Sang-woo's skill. He replied that his skill was cloning. Jun-mo felt a bit awkward after hearing that. He had heard of this skill before. It seemed to be the ability to create illusions, but those clones were useless. A rookie with such a useless skill wouldn't amount to much when hunting. Jun-mo thought for a moment, but remained polite. He pretended to praise his skill and then gave him a contract to read. The first hunting spot he suggested was the slime hunting ground. Slimes were not aggressive or dangerous, but when hit, they would shoot out liquid and a slight poison. You needed to wear a mask and protective gear. Those things were not easy to wear, so the disadvantage was that you couldn't hunt for long. Sang-woo took a picture of the contract and said it was no problem. The second option was hunting horned rabbits in that place. There was plenty of hunting time, but they were quite difficult to catch, so he probably wouldn't make much. There was a barrier around it, so this place was also a safe place to hunt. There were other low-level monsters like giant rats, but the 2 Kang Jun-mo just mentioned were the best options if Sang-woo wanted to ensure safety. Sang-woo was still intently flipping through the contract. Both places were good. He was also quite satisfied with the selling price of the items. He put the contract down on the table and said he accepted. Kang Junmo took notes in his notebook asking which hunting ground he wanted to choose. Suddenly, another hand holding a seal stamped it down with a thud. Another Sang-woo appeared. He said he liked both hunting grounds, so he wanted to try them all. Kim Junmo looked at the two identical people in front of him. He was stunned, remembering a time he had met a ninja with a self-cloning skill. But those clones were just useless illusions that you could pass through, and couldn't cause any real damage. But now, witnessing Sang-woo's cloning ability, he was extremely surprised. That other clone could review the contract, and could also drink coffee. This was the first time he had seen a skill like this. Junmo still couldn't quite believe it and asked Sang-woo again, "Are you two twins?" He burst out laughing. It was understandable that he would misunderstand. Sang-woo patted the clone's shoulder, saying this was his clone. His clone was the real deal. In fact, he had one more. But he had sent it to the fitness center. Junmo was surprised. Clones also needed to train their muscles. Sang-woo happily explained that if his clones became stronger, he would also become stronger. Junmo felt much more hopeful. This was not just a skill of a common F-rank hunter. Sang-woo had enormous potential. Sang-woo asked Junmo if there would be any problem if the same person entered multiple locations at the same time. Junmo replied that it might be difficult to enter at the same time because every time you enter a place, it would be recorded separately. Sang-woo's eyes welled up with tears, poking his fingers together. So it's not possible. Junmo said he would talk to the Hunters Association about this and would make some adjustments. In return, he needed to scan Sang-woo's necklace and needed him to demonstrate his skill in detail, so he requested Sang-woo to go with him. Sang-woo agreed, but he couldn't use the skill again until tomorrow night because he needed to let the cooldown reset. Junmo arranged to meet him at the Hunter Center in 2 days. They signed the contract and started their cooperation. 2 days later, Sang-woo arrived at the Hunter Center on time. After waiting for a while, Junmo also arrived. They went inside together. After queuing up, it was his turn. He wanted to copy access to the hunting areas because his skill was cloning, but he only had one identification necklace. The staff told him to wait a moment, because he was the first person after Jumper to request access duplication, so it would take some time. A moment later, the staff gave him a set of forms, and told him to go to the public affairs office and the equipment room to carry out the proper procedures, and he could request a test in the skill demonstration room. Sang-woo looked at the pile of paperwork and broke into a sweat. So much paperwork. Junmo took the documents to handle them for him. He told Sang-woo to go to the skill demonstration room. After Junmo left, Sang-woo went to the skill demonstration room. He summoned his clone and requested the creation of an identical identification necklace. Completed. Now his clones could also enter the hunting area by scanning their fingerprint. Considering the characteristics of the clone skill, entering and exiting multiple locations at the same time was possible, and the clone could also enter a place he had been to before. Sang-woo took the bracelet and said thank you. The old man was extremely interested, looking at his clone over and over again. As far as he knew, there had never been a precedent like this, not just in Korea, but even in the world. Sang-woo didn't want to stay here any longer. He dragged the clone away and left. Sang-woo met Junmo again and informed him that the access request was completed. Finally, all preparations for the hunt were complete. He planned to go to the hunting area today. The three of them were talking when they were spotted by an acquaintance of Junmo. He was the guild master of Hisung. He jumped down from the second floor, his face challenging, and asked Junmo if he was still a hunter. Junmo was furious, but could do nothing but grit his teeth and endure. The old guild master burst out laughing. He glanced at Sang-woo next to him, asking who he was. Junmo said he was a hunter affiliated with his company. The guild master looked Sang-woo up and down with a disdainful expression. "You're F-rank, aren't you?" The old guild master trembled with suppressed laughter. "They say it's hard to be away from home, Mr. Junmo, who used to supervise C-rank hunters, and now you've become this." The old guild master burst out laughing again. He shrieked as if he were crazy. He couldn't believe Junmo was looking after an F-ranker wearing such a stupid sweater. Junmo trembled with anger, about to retort. Sang-woo patted his shoulder to stop him. On the other side, the old guild master hadn't stopped. He looked at Sang-woo like he was looking at an insect, and asked if he had anything to say. Sang-woo grinned, contrary to a normal reaction. He said he was honored to meet the guild master of the top corporation in the country. The old guild master was interested, praising him for having a good eye. Sang-woo added more, saying it wasn't just that, not just the top corporation in the country, but also the top dungeon monopoly corporation in the country, leading in controlling hunting grounds, leading in payment rates. He couldn't believe the guild master of that corporation was praising him like this. Now he was so happy he didn't know what to do. The old guild master cracked his neck. He assessed that Sang-woo was brave. He didn't know, since when he had snuck up behind Sang-woo, he wanted to test if his skills could keep up with his courage. Sang-woo broke out in a cold sweat looking behind him. Luckily for him, someone approached and stopped the old guildmaster's next move. He let go of Sang-woo. He asked for his name. Sang-woo joked and didn't answer, telling him to find the answer himself. The group left the association center. Junmo thanked him for what just happened. He said he wasn't stupid. He had found that out by investigating the GM organization a little. But there wasn't much information about it on the internet. While investigating, he saw a rumor about manager Kang Junmo. According to an insider, he had been kicked out of the Hyesung Corporation. Junmo realized Sang-woo knew everything. He asked why Sang-woo chose their organization. Sang-woo didn't hesitate and said it plainly because of the payment rate. He didn't expect the rate to be 8-2. Moreover, if there was anything in this industry or this corporation that he couldn't solve, he could trust Junmo. Junmo was grateful and said thank you. At this time in the JM gym, Sang-woo's clone was training so hard that its hands were bleeding. The people around were whispering, worried about it. Suddenly, a text message came. The clone opened it to check and saw a message from Sang-woo telling it to finish its workout. Take a shower and wait for him in front of the gym at 4 o'clock. The clone obeyed, stopped training, drank some water, and rested. Sang-woo was at the hunting ground. He wore protective gear covering his whole body, holding a hammer to poke slimes. After leaving the hunting ground, he took off his mask and complained, "This gas mask is so cumbersome." He felt like he was wearing a dozen masks and then breathing. Junmo said the slime hunting ground was quite safe, but hunters usually didn't go there. The loot wasn't much. Sang-woo also didn't think he could do this for long. Junmo said he could hunt until the container was full, and once it was full, he could change it in the replacement locker. However, no matter how patient a person was, it would be hard to endure for 6 hours. Sang-woo knew for sure he couldn't even last 2 hours, let alone 6. So he would push the job onto clone number 2. Sang-woo, with tears in his eyes, sent number 2 into the hunting ground. He turned and told Junmo to go to the horned rabbit hunting ground next. Just then he suddenly remembered clone number 1. He hadn't picked it up from the gym. Sang-woo and Junmo went to the gym to pick up number 1. Junmo found it interesting that Sang-woo named his clones number 1 and number 2. After all, they were clones, so names didn't matter. Giving them fancy names would just confuse him. Sang-woo changed the subject. He had heard that people use guns to hunt horned rabbits. So shouldn't he prepare some equipment like a gun or something? Junmo told him not to worry. He could use his own equipment, but he could also rent from the hunting ground. Junmo reminded him that it was best to prepare his own equipment in the future because rented equipment was only allowed to be used at that specific hunting ground to make recovery easier. After walking for a while, they arrived at the horned rabbit hunting ground. Outside, there were quite a few people guarding the place. This was the famous large-scale Ujangsan hunting ground. The slime hunting ground couldn't compare. Sang-woo had also heard about this place. Basically, the gate was not connected to the outside world. So most hunts happened after hunters entered the gate. In some cases, a monster passed through the gate, destroyed the surrounding environment, and that place gradually became a hunting ground. That event was called a monster break. 5 years ago, when the monster break occurred, most of the high-level monsters were destroyed. What was left were only E and F rank monsters. Therefore, hunters valued this place as a lucrative hunting ground. The two went inside. Junmo pointed to the counter of a tall, dark, and imposing man, saying he could rent equipment there. The man threw him a box containing a series of equipment, a rifle, night vision goggles, earplugs, about 400 rounds of ammunition, and an entrance ticket. The total was 700,000 won. Sang-woo stood unsteadily, handed over his card, crying without tears. So expensive. Junmo comforted him, saying the ammunition cost was the highest among the expenses, but of course, if Sang-woo could successfully hunt a horned rabbit, there would be no problem. The price of one horned rabbit was as expensive as a container of slime essence. Junmo led the way deep into the hunting ground. The three of them stood in front of a room. When the door opened, they saw guns and bullets booming. Inside, a bunch of people were hunting rabbits. Junmo showed him his standing position. His position was number 4. Sang-woo confidently held the gun. He boasted that he only missed 3 shots in the shooting test of the hunter. Exam Junmo said nothing. The target was so close, yet he missed 3 shots. Sangwoo loaded the gun and put on the earplugs. He was extremely confident, declaring that those monsters wouldn't escape the barrel of his eagle eye. Junmo felt embarrassed for him. He thanked God that everyone here was wearing earplugs. Sangwoo looked through the scope. He shouted that he saw a rabbit. He aimed straight at its head and pulled the trigger. 3 hours later, Sangwoo was traumatized. He couldn't believe he couldn't hit a single one. How could that be? Sangwoo sighed in despair. Aiming was fine, but the rabbits were too clever. Just as the bullet was fired, they would dart away. Junmo had already asked for leave to go home earlier because it was very late. Sangwoo was sad. He hadn't even earned back the money he spent on ammunition. Should he give up for today and go home? Sangwoo ordered clone number 1 to hunt horned rabbits here and use a harpoon gun to pick them up for him. He told it to send him a text message every time it hit one, and if it ran out of ammo to call him. Sangwoo sighed in despair. He was going home now. He went home and lay on the bed, seeing notifications of his mana continuously increasing. He comforted himself that at least number 2 was still killing monsters quite well. Although his stats were still increasing compared to that old guild master, the road was still long. Sangwoo was tired, yawned, and went to hunt horned rabbits. It was a mistake. He didn't think it would be that difficult. Sangwoo closed his eyes, wishing number 1 would catch at least one to save face. With that, he fell asleep without noticing the continuous stream of messages from number 1. Junmo was dazed in his office when suddenly someone called. They were the managers of the slime hunting ground telling him to come quickly. Sangwoo's clone had been hunting for over 24 hours and could no longer stay conscious. Junmo rushed over immediately. The sun was bright when Sangwoo woke up. He wondered if number 1 had run out of ammunition. He opened his phone to check his messages and was stunned. Why were there so many messages? Junmo arrived at the slime hunting ground. He couldn't believe that in just one day that clone had filled up all these containers. The clone was still wearing protective gear. Blood dripping, but it didn't stop. Junmo took out his phone to call Sangwoo, reporting the good news. His clone had filled up all the containers. He was preparing to call the Monster Corp's cleanup crew. He told Sangwoo to order number 2 to stop hunting. Sangwoo was now at the horned rabbit hunting ground. He told Junmo to have someone come over here. The pile of rabbit corpses number 1 had hunted was blocking the path here. A crowd gathered around number 1. They couldn't stop recording videos and talking, unable to believe number 1 had taken down all those rabbits. Number 1 wore a mask and a hat, sitting dazed in one spot. A broker from the Brown Bear Guild came and gave it a business card praising its marksmanship. He held out the business card for a long time, but number 1 had no reaction. He tried to stay calm, his hand holding the business card trembling, comforting himself that all geniuses were always weird. A broker from another guild laughed, reminding him that no matter how hard they tried to talk to him, he wouldn't say a single word. The guy from the Brown Bear Guild didn't quite believe it. Surely he could say 1 or 2 words. Sangwoo, wearing a hat pulled down over his head, secretly passed more ammunition. He told number 1 to keep hunting, and if Junmo came to leave the pile of rabbit corpses for him to handle. Sangwoo patted number 1's shoulder, praising it for doing a good job, and then left. Number 1, being praised, was ecstatic and picked up its gun with renewed vigor to continue hunting. The surrounding crowd became lively again, ready with their cameras. Sangwoo was tutoring the girl from Deokchil's house. He was dazed. He had underestimated what the clones could do. Currently, the clones had reached 50% of his stats. If thought of simply, it meant they could do 50% of what he could do. But something was wrong here, like letting a machine play the game for you. The clones made decisions without hesitation and had high concentration. Sangwoo was lost in thought and didn't notice Hyeon calling him until she called out too loudly, startling him and making him drop his pen. She asked what he was thinking about so dazedly. Sangwoo awkwardly handed the paper back to Hyeon, praising her for doing better than last time. Hyeon took the paper. She asked again what he was thinking about. Sangwoo rested his chin on his hand and vaguely replied that something good happened at the hunting ground, better than he expected. Unexpectedly, upon hearing about the hunting ground, Hyeon jumped up. She was surprised and asked if he was a hunter. Sangwoo didn't deny it. Hyeon sat down, took out her phone and searched. She asked Sangwoo if he knew this guy. Everyone was talking about this person on the wiki today. Hyeon showed the video on the internet. This is a genius hunter with eyes as sharp as an eagle's. Sangwoo was shocked to his core, spitting out water. He trembled, not believing his own hands. Who? Hyeon was extremely excited, asking if he knew him on the Hunter Wiki. Everyone was going crazy over this person. This video showed him hunting over 200 rabbits. But he didn't say a single word. Everyone thought he was cool and mysterious. When asked for his name, he only replied, Ujang-san's eagle eye. Sang-woo was even more shocked after hearing that. He stood frozen, speechless. Haeyeon, full of admiration, looked at the video. She also wanted to become a hunter. Sang-woo asked if she was awake, wanting to be a hunter. Haeyeon sighed shyly. She had a license, but she was a bit scared when going to the hunting ground. Haeyeon hesitated for a moment. She shyly asked Sang-woo if she got a high score on the next test. Could he take her hunting once? Sang-woo saw no problem. He said if she tried to get a high score on this exam, he would take her there. Haeyeon was happy and shouted, raising her finger to make Sang-woo promise. Sang-woo exhaled and pinky promised her. After finishing the lesson, Sang-woo went out to go home. Haeyeon's mother asked him how Haeyeon was doing in her studies. Sang-woo said the girl was very good. She didn't need to worry about anything. Haeyeon's mother invited him to stay for dinner, but he had an appointment elsewhere and declined. Haeyeon eavesdropped at the door. Jumping for joy, she was being taught by Sang-woo. So he's a hunter, that's why we can talk so smoothly. At first, she didn't like it because he was an acquaintance of her father, but Sang-woo was very nice, taught well, and was also handsome, so she was completely smitten. Haeyeon chased away the stray thoughts in her head and sat down at the table determined to study. Sang-woo went to the horned rabbit hunting ground. When he arrived, the place was still bustling. Junmo had called a bunch of people to collect the rabbits. Junmo asked if he had seen the money he sent Sang-woo, took out his phone. He had turned off notifications, so he didn't see it. Sang-woo checked his bank account balance and froze. The number was over 32 million won. Sang-woo was overjoyed and asked, "This much?" Junmo said his skills seemed to have surpassed F rank, so he raised it to 83% for an E rank hunter. Sang-woo awkwardly rubbed his head, but he wasn't E rank. While they were laughing and talking happily, a burly man approached. He pointed at Junmo and asked, "Are you the manager?" He was a hunter whose prey had been stolen. All the horned rabbits he had aimed at were snatched by Sang-woo's clone. This hunting trip was a complete waste. He demanded compensation. Junmo swallowed and whispered to Sang-woo that it seemed they had chosen the wrong spot. Sang-woo thought for a moment. He came up with a clever plan and whispered it to Junmo. The man on the other side had lost all patience. He demanded 10% of the reward money. Sang-woo burst out laughing, "Haha, priceless." The other guy was furious. He asked, "What the hell are you laughing at?" Sang-woo patted number one's shoulder, speaking cryptically. "Don't worry, this man won't be here for a few days." He pretended to turn to Junmo and said, "Let's get out of here." The other man got even more angry. But Sang-woo didn't seem to care and walked past him. The man was so mad, he turned around, raising his fist to attack him. Sang-woo used his thoughts to command number one. Number one immediately rushed forward to shield Sang-woo. Taking the full force of the man's punch, number one flew away, coughing up blood. The man was startled. He hadn't hit that hard. Sang-woo, who had been standing by, had recorded everything on his phone. He pretended to be shocked and shouted, "This is so brutal! An act of violence in a sacred hunting ground. If people find out, they won't let it go." The man looked around and saw others looking at him. Sang-woo took the opportunity to continue acting. "Oh my God, it would be terrible if this video was posted on the Hunter website. Our star, Yu Jang-san's eagle eye, was attacked. How shocking." The man started to get nervous, sweating profusely. Sang-woo held the video in front of him, patted his shoulder, and showed sympathy. He asked the man, "Can I go now?" The man was furious, gritting his teeth, but couldn't do anything. The three of them went to a coffee shop and sat down. Junmo thought the hunter from before was a member of the Haesung Guild. Because the Haesung Guild was quite large, there were all kinds of people. Sang-woo asked how he knew. Junmo said that from the moment he stepped into the hunting ground to collect the corpses, the man had been staring at him. This could be a revenge plan. They did this because they thought number one was another hunter who had signed a contract with them. Before, hunters from the JM company had also encountered situations like this. Junmo was sad. This is a bit embarrassing, but previous hunters usually didn't extend their contracts for long and left. Currently, there are only a few F-rank hunters, including Sang-woo. Junmo couldn't promise anything about stopping the Haesung Guild. Sang-woo shook the can of water. He told Junmo not to try to make him change his mind. He knew about this, but still joined the guild. He would definitely not let those bastards bully them like that. Sang-woo had a plan to get stronger very quickly. He enthusiastically talked about the plan to Junmo. Junmo listened and took out his notebook to write it down. He had never thought that way either. He asked Sang-woo how about 2 p.m. tomorrow. Sang-woo happily agreed. They confirmed the location and went their separate ways. The next day, they went to the hunter supermarket. The trade of weapons, armor, and other equipment for hunters had always been very popular from the beginning. But a type of department store had entered the hunter market industry and had taken a key position in the industry. Because of that, all kinds of equipment that hunters needed were always available. Sang-woo wore a suit of armor made of sturdy titanium guaranteed against all E-rank monsters. Sang-woo praised it, saying it was very comfortable and very light. He liked this suit a lot. As for weapons, Sang-woo pulled out a small knife tucked at his side. He said he would practice shooting better, so this was enough. Sang-woo asked the shop owner to give him 2 more suits of armor, just like the one he was wearing. Junmo asked if he needed a melee skill too. Sang-woo said yes. But he wasn't sure if it was here. They walked around for a few more rounds and finally found the melee skillet could share vision and senses with pets. But looking at the price of nearly 200 million, Sang-woo trembled, crying in dog language. He turned to Junmo, suggesting a good comradeship relationship and an advance on his salary. Junmo cried without tears. He could lend him 50 million for now. Sang-woo successfully bought the Icebone sphere and went home. He took out the user manual to read. Pour mana into the skill sphere. For those who can't control mana, turn on the sphere's button while keeping it in contact with the body. Sang-woo had no idea how to use mana. He fumbled around looking for the on button, holding the remote in his hand. He trembled, touched the sphere, closed his eyes, and decisively flipped the switch. The sphere evaporated. The melee skill was created. Sang-woo called his 2 clones back, preparing to continue. Before he had discussed with Junmo that he had an idea to help them get stronger very quickly. He had never imagined the result of the hunt the other day. The clones' stamina, endurance, and reaction time were only half of his stats, but they managed to hunt 300 horned rabbits while he couldn't catch a single one. And the matter of him ordering the clone to take the punch from that hunter and act as miserably as possible, but timing it perfectly and calmly facing that person's fist was not easy at all. Although the stats of these clones were low, they had excellent body control. So Sang-woo wanted to take advantage of this strength. First, he sent his 2 clones, one to a different training ground. One would practice long-range weapon skills, and the other, short-range. He would train the clones extremely harshly so they could reach their limits. The 2 clones, after learning just a few basic moves, easily defeated their opponents and shattered the targets. Second, he needed the melee skill. It not only shared vision, but also shared senses, smell, touch, and connected other sensations. Sang-woo stood at a different location, using the melee skill while the clones were sparring or practicing shooting. He could experience everything: the distance in the sparring match, the angle of the joints, the body's balance, the movement of the muscles, and the feeling of surging power. He felt all the movements of his clone, from the air pressure as the baton slid past, the smell of gunpowder, the recoil, and even the fatigue. Though he hadn't moved an inch because he experienced the movements of a clone with a body identical to his. Sang-woo felt he could imitate those movements right now. The system's notification board appeared, his physical strength and reflexes increased. Sang-woo stretched his legs and arms, preparing himself. Today he would try both sparring and shooting. Sang-woo decided to check on number 1 first. He activated the synchronization skill to go to number 1's location. By this time, number 1 was already sparring with the instructor. The 2 exchanged dozens of moves. The instructor was somewhat overwhelmed by number 1. Although number 1's attacks were rudimentary, as if it had never used a baton before, its defense was too formidable, its dodging superb. The instructor tensed his abs and glutes to defend against number 1. Its attacks were too strong. It was copying him. The instructor flicked his stick. He made another strike towards number 1. But it dodged and poked the instructor in the shoulder with its stick. He clicked his tongue. Number 1 was about to strike again when the instructor seized the opportunity, jumped up, and attacked from above, knocking the stick out of number 1's hand. The people around clapped and cheered. Their instructor was no ordinary person. Sang-woo screamed silently, "My wrist, my poor wrist." The instructor picked up the stick and asked number 1 if it wanted to continue. Sang-woo was also worried, asking if number 1 was okay. It said nothing. Getting into a fighting stance, it jumped up, mimicking the instructor's earlier move. Sang-woo then jumped to number 2's location. This side was tense with the smell of gunpowder. Another pair, a man and a woman, were praising each other, one setting up, the other hitting. Number 2 was shooting at the clay pigeons of the person next to it. Sang-woo ignored them, focusing on shooting following number two's actions. He also focused his mind, feeling his upper body stable, not moving, and only turning in the direction of the shot, following the trajectory of the clay pigeon. When the target aligned, he fired. The clay pigeon shattered. Sang-woo tried to memorize every small detail. He had to absorb everything his clone had. After jumping back and forth for a while, he jumped back to his own body. Sang-woo wiped his sweat. He felt a bit dizzy. His mana was depleted, so dizzy. Sang-woo sat on a bench to rest. He marveled at the clone's movements. Crazy. It might be because they didn't know fear and didn't think much, so their concentration was quite high. He considered that he had gained some experience. Next time he would try it in practice. While he was admiring the sky clouds and scenery, his beloved student Haeyeon happened to walk by. He asked her what the hell she was doing here, so late Haeyeon replied that she had just come from the library. The two were talking happily without noticing a group of menacing-looking people in the distance staring intently. One of them was the guy who caused trouble at the Horned Rabbit hunting ground last time. He had been reprimanded by his big boss for not getting the job done. He was flustered and apologized, saying he just wanted to scare him a little, but some guy came out of nowhere and filmed it. The other side asked if he was caught on camera hitting someone. He stammered an explanation, but before he could finish, the other side cut him off, telling him to shut up and not bark anymore, and not to get near Ujang-san no matter what. He was no longer involved with the Hai-Sung Guild. The other side left him with a "you're on your own street trash" and hung up. The man, after hearing that, was furious. He cursed, smashed his phone against the wall with a loud bang, and kept stomping on it. While he was venting his anger, two other guys came to check on him, a fat one and a long-haired one. He told the two newcomers everything. The fat guy was his senior named Gun Seok. The fat guy holding a cigarette criticized him for being stupid. Joining that number one guild was already a stupid move. The guy bowed his head in remorse, asking the fat guy if he had any work for him. Now the guild told him not to go near Ujang-san. The fat guy turned to the long-haired guy and asked if he had any work for him. Suddenly the guy saw Sang-woo's figure in the distance and shouted, pointing, "He's the one who filmed me!" The fat guy asked if he was sure. The man aggressively walked over, extremely sure, hiding behind a pillar. The man's eyes were red with anger. Sang-woo and Haeyeon were talking cheerfully when the three men came out. The fat guy in the lead asked, "Are you the one who bullied my little brother?" Sang-woo didn't know who this fat guy was. He saw the familiar face of the other guy behind him and understood. Sang-woo stood up calmly and asked the group what the matter was. The man behind couldn't hold back anymore. He snapped, telling Sang-woo not to play innocent. The fat guy stopped his underling's action. He bared his teeth and asked Sang-woo, "I heard you have a video of my little brother getting a little carried away, huh? Delete it and we'll carry ourselves away and leave." Sang-woo took out his phone and asked, "What's the guarantee for your words?" The fat guy licked his lips, his attitude changing completely. There was no way he would let him go. Sang-woo realized the situation was tense. He put his phone in his pocket and whispered to Haeyeon to find a chance to run. The fat guy and his underlings cracked their knuckles ready for a fight. He ordered the other two to attack. Sang-woo, having to fight two at once, struggled greatly. He was punched and kicked, rolling on the ground a few times, even coughing up blood. Haeyeon worriedly stood in front of him. She trembled and summoned her energy sphere, threatening the group to back off. The two underlings, seeing Haeyeon was an awakened one, were a bit hesitant to charge. The fat guy hit each of them on the head. "What the hell are you afraid of? There are more awakened ones like her than vegetables at the market now." Haeyeon shot a sphere of light towards the fat guy. He easily blocked it. He swung his fat, wobbly arm towards her. Sang-woo jumped out of nowhere and blocked it. He punched back at the fat guy's face. The fat guy lost his balance and stumbled back, holding his face. The underling, seeing his boss being hit, rushed forward to retaliate. Sang-woo applied theory to practice. He carefully observed the other guy's movements. He dodged to the side and then threw a punch with everything he had from head to groin straight at the other guy's face. The long-haired guy took that opportunity to attack. He knew he couldn't dodge the long-haired guy's punch, so he used a double strike, smacking the long-haired guy hard. Both sides were panting heavily. The fat guy was tense. He didn't expect Sang-woo to have some moves. The fat guy started to get serious and charged. Sang-woo used every skill to dodge and counterattack the fat guy. He was hit several times in a row, but Sang-woo didn't stop. He had to punch hard and fast, making the fat guy use up his energy. After several consecutive blows, Sang-woo nimbly dodged the fat guy's porky fists. The fat guy, seeing that he couldn't hit him, got even more furious. The muscles in his arm tensed up to the maximum, ready to strike at him. Sang-woo was ready to dodge when the long-haired guy grabbed his leg, making it impossible for him to move. So he took the full force of the fat guy's punch, flying backward and hitting a wall. Sang-woo panted heavily. He felt it was hard to breathe. The fat guy got closer and closer. He swung his arm, ready to deliver another blow. Sang-woo thought he was finished. He closed his eyes, ready to die. Suddenly an explosion rang out. The fat guy was hit, his mouth wide open. The one who attacked was Haeon. The two underlings, seeing this, scrambled to their feet and rushed towards her. Just as they were about to attack, Sang-woo's two clones arrived in time and knocked them both out. Sang-woo got up from the ground. He wiped the blood from his mouth. He could finally breathe again. The fat guy cursed and charged again. Sang-woo jumped backward into the air. He delivered a blow from above, knocking the fat guy to the ground unconscious, not making another sound. Sang-woo was also exhausted. He received a notification from the system. His stats had increased. The clone skill was also temporarily leveled up. He sighed and collapsed to the ground. The clones worriedly rushed to check on him. After they were both bandaged up, Sang-woo took Haeon home. They talked the whole way. Haeon now knew that the famous rookie hunter was Sang-woo's clone. He told her not to reveal it. After a while, they stood in front of Haeon's house. He kindly asked if her hand was okay. Haeon happily said she was fine. Sang-woo thanked her for helping him. If it weren't for her, he wouldn't have been able to defeat that fat guy. Haeon's face turned red. She told him if he wanted to thank her, he should buy her some meat, not just say it. Sang-woo promised to buy it for her, and they said goodbye. Sang-woo returned with his two clones. Suddenly, as if remembering something, he asked the two clones why they were following him. They should be working hard. The two clones said it was late. All the shooting ranges were closed. Sang-woo took 2 sticks from the ground, gave one to each clone, and told them they could practice in the park. Then he went home. A month later, Junmo called Sang-woo to ask how things were. Sang-woo said everything was fine. Now even he could shoot a pistol. His clone skill level had also increased. Junmo was overjoyed and congratulated him. Sang-woo looked at his stats, which had increased to 1.4. He told Junmo he wanted to take on 3 F-rank hunting grounds for tomorrow. Junmo was shocked but promised to find those grounds for him at any cost. Sang-woo planned to have his clones train in the morning and hunt in the afternoon. They confirmed the schedule and ended the call. After the call, Sang-woo ordered his 3 clones to go to the park and be back before 12 o'clock and to leave their guns at home. The 3 clones obediently left immediately. Sang-woo scrolled through information online. He sighed. From the clones' training, he could see they learned very well. Unless the body movement was impossible, they could copy and replicate almost everything. He wondered what would happen if he learned about all these monsters and the ways to hunt them accurately. Thinking was doing. Sang-woo began his learning journey. A night passed in a blink of an eye. When he saw the clones return, he realized it was already 12 o'clock. Sang-woo yawned. These guys were still full of energy. Even if they worked all day, they wouldn't get tired. He ordered them to take a shower and eat. Sang-woo had watched most of the guides for F-rank monsters. Now he needed to check if the clones really hunted by following the instructions. Sang-woo would go check what was happening and experience hunting to get used to combat by using familiar skills, and then learn about mana during breaks. Sang-woo received a message from Junmo. He urged the clones who hadn't even warmed their seats to eat quickly and get ready. Sang-woo dragged the clones to the meeting place with Junmo. He asked if the training grounds were ready. Junmo replied that he had found 3 grounds not far from each other. Sang-woo handed the 3 clones over to Junmo to handle, while he himself would stay at home and study by using his remote skill. He also had to practice his mana breathing technique. After the car left, Sang-woo returned to his room. He closed his eyes, calmed his mind, and followed the audio guide. Breathe out. Breathe in. He tried to recall the feeling of using a skill. A stream of light slowly gathered in his body. Sang-woo suddenly opened his eyes. He had acquired the meditation skill. By stabilizing the mind, mental fatigue would be slightly restored. The growth rate and mana recovery rate increased slightly. In a certain hunting ground, a hunter struggled to escape step by step. He cursed relentlessly. Why is that monster here? This is clearly an F-rank dungeon. We only came here to hunt some exotic fish. He had to report this to the authorities. But that monster wouldn't let him escape. It bared its sharp teeth and tore the hunter's body apart. Just then, Junmo brought a clone to the wastewater treatment plant. He told it that there were exotic fish here famous for their strong jaws. The clone replied, "Understood." and went inside. Junmo took out his phone to report to Sang-woo that he had brought all three to their destinations. He himself couldn't believe it. A hunter was hunting in 3 different places, while the original was in his room. This ability was truly top tier. Meanwhile, at Sang-woo's house, he was overjoyed because he had received the mana breathing skill, a genius that appears once in 1,000 years. But his joy didn't last 3 seconds. The phone reminded him to continue feeling his mana and keep breathing, not to mistake meditation and the mana breathing skill as one. Sang-woo was disappointed. He had guessed it would be hard to get the mana breathing skill. He got too excited. So embarrassing. He picked up his phone to check and saw that the 3 clones had arrived. Sang-woo used his familiar skill to go to the training ground. As soon as he entered, he saw a rat being stabbed to smithereens. Sang-woo was startled. What the hell is this? Calming down and looking again, he realized it was number 1 hunting. Sang-woo continued to observe his surroundings. Number 1 followed the theory Sang-woo had seen in the video. Giant rats were one of the most annoying monsters among F-rank monsters. If you were going to hunt them, you should form a team. If there was no other choice but to go solo, there was a way to succeed. First, because the rats would charge straight ahead, keep your distance and shoot. Of course, you couldn't take them all down by shooting, so switch to close combat. Their skulls were very hard, so you had to aim for the ribs. Rats bred very quickly, just like common rats, so their numbers were very large. Number 1 calmly took them down one by one. Sang-woo then jumped to number 2's location. His clones could indeed hunt exactly like him, even using the skills he had. They weren't panicked or scared at all. They hunted without caring about the opponent's level, and he could experience hunting with familiar skills. Sang-woo's stats increased bit by bit. The clones also got stronger. Today he would wipe out all the F-rank monsters. After hunting for a while, he felt something was missing. Sang-woo was startled, suddenly remembering he hadn't collected the monster corpses. His money had flown away with the wind. He immediately ordered the 3 clones to go back and collect the monster corpses quickly before his money disappeared without a trace. Sang-woo cried without tears. Sang-woo pointed at the fish lying on the other side and asked, Number 3, why it wasn't collecting them. It said it didn't hunt. Those who ever hunted them should collect them. Sang-woo's eyes twitched as he pointed at number 3 and warned, It's all money, don't play games like that. Number 3 obeyed and went to collect them. Sang-woo looked at the mashed-up fish and felt a bit disgusted. Number 3 pulled an arm out of a fish's body and asked Sang-woo if he needed to collect this. It's not a fish. Sang-woo froze when he saw the hand. Suddenly there was a movement behind them. The 2 turned to look around warily. Number 3 saw movement and turned to the right. It was just a fish head that was just a trap. The fish lord had been standing behind it all along. Number 3 didn't react in time. It was about to turn and shoot when the fish slapped one of its arms off. Sang-woo cried out in pain, feeling as if his own arm had been cut off. His consciousness returned to his body. Sang-woo trembled, looking at his hand still intact. The connection just now had been severed because of the clone's damage. Sang-woo was still in shock. He dialed Junmo's number on his phone, telling him to come to hunting ground number 3. There wasn't much time to explain. Sang-woo quickly put on his shoes and left immediately. He also called number 1 and number 2 to come. On the other side, number 3 was struggling against the giant 6-packed muscle fish. Sang-woo arrived at number 3's hunting ground. He had lost connection with number 3 and had to wait a long time to summon it again. He went through the inspection gate and entered to meet up with Junmo and the other 2 clones. Only then did Sang-woo explain the situation clearly to Junmo. The monster inside the hunting ground was very strong. Number 3 had disappeared. Sang-woo described it as having a fish head, 6-pack abs, and full arms and legs. In other words, a fishman. Junmo was startled. He had to report this to the higher-ups and temporarily close this place. The monster Sang-woo just mentioned was a monster named Fishman. A D-rank, a whole team of E-rank hunters couldn't do anything to it. Sang-woo told Junmo to report it to the guards and prevent other hunters from entering after his clone went in. He couldn't sit still. He wanted Junmo to trust him the way he trusted his clone. Sang-woo continued to activate his familiar skill and entered with the 2 clones. They tiptoed to where number 3 had disappeared. At that moment, the monster was chewing on a human corpse. They had to take this opportunity to attack. Even though his current stats were on par with an E-rank hunter, his clone only had about 53% of that. They were only about F rank at best. But right now, the fishman was not in its best condition. If you added in the clone's hunting skills and the tacit cooperation between him and the clones, it was still feasible. He ordered the clone to shoot at the fish's head, but both bullets that flew out and hit the fish's head were deflected. The two clones were stunned, their mouths agape. The bullets had no effect. The fishman slowly stood up. It bared its fangs, brandished its claws, and roared. The fishman jumped towards the two clones. Number 1 and Number 2 jumped up and attacked the fish from behind, but only managed to create a tiny scratch on its body. The fish swung its sword, it slashed and hit several trees in the forest. Sang-woo breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the fish's body was large, so it had difficulty swinging its sword in a forest like this, but the words had just left his mouth when he had to take them back. The fish cut down a tree in a single blink. Number 1 and Number 2 continued to charge forward, attacking with knives at the fish's arm, but it had no effect. It swung its fist, sending Number 2 flying into a tree on the opposite side. Sang-woo cursed. Damn it, if the attacks are useless like this, how the hell are we supposed to hunt this big fat thing? Sang-woo suddenly remembered the two bullets. Number 1 and Number 2 had shot at the fish earlier. The first bullet bounced right off, but the next one caused some damage. He ordered the clone to aim for the fish's wound again. It was just as he thought. It worked. Sang-woo felt like he saw the light of the party. He ordered the two clones to feed the fish lead candies. Number 1 and Number 2 nimbly dodged, jumping everywhere, continuously shooting at the fish's wounds. The fish was furious. The sword in its hand turned red and slashed towards the clone. Number 1 raised its hand to block the blow, but was knocked away, coughing up blood. The fish was stronger than before. Sang-woo quickly realized that the sword it was holding reacted to its blood, which also meant the fish had been injured quite a bit, so it was probably only temporarily stronger. The two clones continued to attack the fish's wound. It screamed in pain and punched Number 1 straight in the stomach. Sang-woo also felt the pain deep in his gut. Number 1 held the fish's hand that had just punched it. It used its other hand to hold a knife and stabbed the fish repeatedly. Fish screamed in pain. It swung its leg, kicking Number 1 away, and then swung its sword about to strike down. Just then, Number 2 rushed to block for Number 1, and then the two clones continued to charge and attack. After a series of continuous attacks, the fish was too heavily injured, bleeding too much. It couldn't hold on any longer and fell. The two clones were also tired, panting like cows, and then collapsed to the ground. They couldn't walk anymore. The ammunition was also gone. Sang-woo thought that was enough hunting for today. He'd stop here just when he thought he was dead. Sang-woo sat up about to report back to the manager when he realized the fish behind him had disappeared. He ordered Number 2 to follow the fish, following its footprints. The fish was heading towards the main gate. At that time, outside, the guard team had just received a report that a D-rank monster had appeared inside this hunting ground, so the entrance had been sealed. They informed the newly arrived hunters that a team of hunters from the association would be dispatched soon, so if there were any changes, they would report back immediately. Just then there was a problem at the gate. The monster had approached the gate and was about to rush out. The guards tried their best to open fire to prevent the monster from getting out, but the guns had no effect. The fish had rushed out of the gate. Number 2 threw a knife from inside, hitting the fish on the head and bouncing off. Sang-woo rushed out from nowhere, caught the knife, and with all his strength slashed straight at the wound on its head. The fish cried out in pain, blood splattering everywhere. Sang-woo didn't loosen his grip. He continued to use his strength to stab. The fish fell truly dead. Number 2 proudly shed a tear and gave a thumbs up. A moment later, a hunter from the association also arrived. When he arrived, the fishman was already lying in a pool of blood. He asked what had happened here. The gatekeeper explained that a D-rank monster had appeared, but a hunter had entered the information gate before the lockdown time and had hunted the monster. The association member was skeptical. Isn't this an F-rank hunting ground? Why is there a D-rank team here? The gatekeeper hurriedly explained that it wasn't a D-rank hunter or a group of hunters. They were still investigating, but from what they knew, an F-rank hunter had taken down the monster with his clones. The association member looked at the fish's condition. All the attacks on that wound must have caused damage because there were no special weapons. But was it really possible to shoot accurately at the wound of a moving monster? He said he would go in and check if there were any other monsters in the gate and told the gatekeeper to complete the investigation before he returned. The association hunter sighed. How should he report this back to the association? If he just said he killed the monster himself, it would be a bit much. Sang-woo, on the other side, after taking down the monster, unlocked a series of skills: sprint skill, regeneration skill, strike skill. Other stats were also upgraded at the same time. Sang-woo wiped the blood from his body. He had unlocked so many skills this time. He was so busy fighting earlier that he didn't notice. Number 1 and number 2 were beaten half to death. Yet they didn't disappear. It must be due to the regeneration skill. Junmo worriedly asked how number 1 and number 2 were. Sang-woo said they were injured but needed some more time for the cooldown before he could summon them again. And besides, he thought letting them recover on their own would help increase the regeneration statty. Junmo laughed, praising Sang-woo for being really good taking down a D-rank monster. He thought that now Sang-woo could take down an E-rank monster by himself without any problem. Sang-woo suddenly remembered that the fish from before had a very unique short sword that could even absorb blood. He was about to touch the sword to take it when Junmo stopped him. He told him to have a clone take the sword in case it was a cursed item. Sang-woo asked if cursed items couldn't be used. Junmo explained that cursed items were very rare, so their value could be determined based on their effects. Upon hearing about money, Sang-woo's eyes lit up. He listened to Junmo and let the clone hold the sword. The cleanup was left to the cleanup crew. He thought that was enough for today. If he stayed here any longer, reporters would probably swarm him. Sang-woo took something out of his pocket and showed it to Junmo, asking if it was expensive. It had fallen out of the fish's head. Junmo was startled, looking at the stone Sang-woo was holding. This was a low-grade gem, a worthless item. But seeing Sang-woo's expectant face, Junmo didn't dare to say it. He told him that this gem was not worth much. It was just an item that increased stats, but was not used much because of its very serious side effects, so it was very cheap. Sang-woo, after hearing that, felt like salt was being rubbed into his wounds. He threw the gem on the ground with a thud. "I don't need it anymore." Sang-woo said goodbye to Junmo and took his 2 clones home. Number 1 and number 2. Like living corpses, collapsed onto the bed. Sang-woo threw his bag on the floor and summoned number 3 again. Sang-woo gave equipment to number 3 and told it to go practice. Sang-woo sat down and took out the sword and the gem he had just despised to examine. He picked up the gem and checked its properties. This was a low-grade strength-enhancing gem, a crystal capable of upgrading human strength. It couldn't be used by humans. It worked on summoned entities, but would turn them into monsters. This gem increased the strength stat by 0.005. It was really tempting, but the stats made him hesitate. Normally, injuries on the clone or other sensations wouldn't affect him, but what if he was the one who turned into a monster, not the clone? The thought of himself turning into an ugly monster and Junmo getting scared and shooting him dead made Sang-woo decide to put the gem away for now, not using it yet. He took out the sword again. To be safe, he had put it in this box to carry back. Selling it would be fine since it was valuable, but if he used it before selling it, should be fine, right? Sang-woo ordered number 2 to try holding the sword up. Sang-woo waited expectantly for something to happen, but nothing happened. Is that it? Number 2 honestly reported that it heard a voice. Sang-woo used the telepathy skill to enter number 2. As soon as he entered, his head buzzed with the sound of killing. Sang-woo immediately exited. Number 2 had no reaction. It seemed that unless the sound was extremely loud, the clone would not be affected. If he held it directly, he didn't know what would become of him. No wonder that fish went crazy. He told number 2 to hold the sword a little longer. The system announced that the regeneration stat had increased. Resting helped them recover a little faster. Sang-woo was troubled. He had to take them hunting tomorrow, but with the current situation, he ordered the clones to unlock mana breathing. Today they would meditate together. The next morning, Sang-woo went to school after a long break. His stats had also increased significantly. But more importantly, no one came to greet him. Sang-woo didn't know he was this lonely. He went into the classroom and met his friend. He asked why he was in this class. The friend said he chose this department because the professor was easygoing and generous with grades. Sang-woo sat down and chatted with his friend. The people around started whispering, "Is that Sang-woo? Wasn't he very fat before he's completely transformed?" Sang-woo asked his friend if he had changed a lot. His friend laughed heartily and asked if he had met his parents, yet guaranteeing that his old folks wouldn't recognize him either. The friend invited Sang-woo to go drinking after class, but he declined, saying he had an appointment and couldn't go. His friend made a scene shouting that Sang-woo was a traitor ditching his friends for a girl. Sang-woo couldn't shut his loud mouth. 2 of his other friends also heard. They held a grudge, vowing to remember the day Sang-woo betrayed them. Just then the professor entered the class, ending the noisy mess. At the Global Hunter Association WHA, they had calculated that a disaster would occur. A gate would form, and thousands of monsters would pour out from it. The highest monster level was A, and the gate was very likely to open in the next few days. The location was South Korea. Immediately after receiving the news, the association organized a meeting between the top guild leaders in the country. This cat-eared girl was Han Mi-ho, leader of the Yahello Guild, ranked 6th nationwide. This man was Park Won-tae, leader of the Canis Guild, ranked 3rd nationwide. They happened to meet on the way and went into the meeting room together. Other guild leaders were already there, including the nationally top-ranked, universally disliked old Hae-seong. He greeted Won-tae, but Won-tae tried to ignore him, not wanting to talk. But Hae-seong wouldn't let it go so easily. He poked at a sore spot, reminding him that a team from Won-tae's guild had recently gone to the Odin Tower, but there had been no news for days. The second-ranked guild leader, Kim Il-gon, seeing this, told Hae-seong he was going a bit too far. Hae-seong still didn't care about anyone sitting there laughing maniacally. Won-tae's eyes burned with anger, but he could only bite his tongue and say nothing. Just then, the president of the Korean Hunters Association walked in. Seeing the tense atmosphere in the room, he cleared his throat and sat down. He announced the impending monster disaster that was about to hit the country. Because there was a suspected possibility of A-rank monsters, the Hunters Association was requested to cooperate with the strongest guilds in the country. Someone asked when and where it would happen. The association president nonchalantly replied that besides the possibility that it would happen in the country, they had no other specific information. The second-ranked guild leader nationwide got angry, slammed the table, and shouted, "So we have to protect the entire country without even knowing the location of the gate." The association president shyly raised a document to cover his face. The only thing they knew was that the disaster would happen soon. Other guilds also started to stir. They didn't even have enough hunters to deal with their internal affairs. How could they prevent a disaster without knowing the time and place? Other guilds kept asking questions, making the association president also confused about what to do. Won-tae raised his hand with an idea. He proposed that each guild prepare a team of hunters that could be dispatched at any time of emergency, check the locations around their area, and when the disaster occurs, all guilds will concentrate their full force at that location. No exceptions. This was mandatory, and any guild that did not comply would be severely punished. The association president also thought this was a reasonable idea. He asked if anyone else had other opinions. They would decide by a show of hands. The other guild leaders had no other opinions, and all raised their hands. The president breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, a conclusion was reached. The meeting ended. Other guilds continued to protect their areas and maintain a close, cooperative relationship. After class, Sang-woo happily carried his backpack home. In the distance, he saw some guy flirting with Haeyeon. He was trying to get her phone number. Haeyeon tried to refuse by saying she had a boyfriend, but the guy wouldn't let go and kept trying to hold on. Sang-woo approached and asked Haeyeon why she was here. Haeyeon, as if grabbing a life-saving straw, called Sang-woo darling, ran to him, held his arm, and pulled him away. Sang-woo was confused about what was happening. After getting away from the guy, Haeyeon explained the situation to him. She tried to emphasize that she didn't have a boyfriend to Sang-woo. He didn't react, changing the subject and asking why she asked him to buy meat for her. Wasn't she supposed to be in class today? Haeyeon started to fall into a cycle of self-love. She asked Sang-woo if he couldn't take his eyes off her usual appearance. She asked if he wanted her number. Sang-woo was dumbfounded, his fists clenched. "I've had it for a long time." Suddenly, he received a message confirming a payment from Junmo. He checked his account and saw he had earned another 50 million. The clone was top-notch. Sang-woo was excited and told Haeyeon to hurry up and choose the most expensive meat to eat. They went to a Korean beef restaurant and sat down to eat. The meat was undeniably delicious, but Haeyeon was still worried about the price. Sang-woo told her to just eat and not worry about anything. While they were eating and drinking happily, a sudden emergency announcement from the TV rang out. At this moment, a disaster announcement is being broadcast across the country. This is an extremely serious matter. All citizens, please pay attention. Sang-woo's friend Gyeong-do cried without tears. It was so unfair. Why did Sang-woo get to play with women while they had to walk the streets alone? They had seen Sang-woo eating with Haeyeon through the glass window. constantly cursing him as a treacherous bastard. Just then, Gyeongda received a notification. He took it out to check. Online, everyone was going crazy about the disaster, but at school, no one seemed to be talking about it. Just then, Sang-woo and Haeon also finished their meal and came out. They asked who the girl with Sang-woo was, if she was his girlfriend. Sang-woo said no, she was his student. He just treated her to a meal. The two sides greeted and introduced themselves. Sang-woo gave Haeon a package and told her to take it home to eat with her parents. He had asked the staff to pack the food they couldn't finish. He told her to be careful going home and not to wander around anymore. Haeon blushed and asked Sang-woo if there was nothing else for today. Just that. Sang-woo was still nonchalant and told her to go home quickly. Her parents wouldn't be happy if they were still loitering outside when there was a disaster warning. Sang-woo's friends criticized him for being so nagging and rigid, just like an old man. Sang-woo got annoyed. He yelled and chased his friends away too. After seeing off his friends and Haeon, he looked around and saw that people were still calm as if nothing had happened, still happily laughing and talking as usual. Sang-woo picked up the phone to call Junmo to ask about the disaster. Junmo said the information was still not official, but the association was planning to keep this warning status for at least another 3 months, because they didn't know when and where the space gate would appear, but the number of invading monsters would be very large and also quite dangerous. They even said there might be A-rank monsters, so if the space gate appeared in the capital, there would be a lot of casualties. Sang-woo couldn't understand. If it was that dangerous, shouldn't the association provide more information to the people and strongly urge everyone to be more careful, like dispatching all the association's hunters? Junmo explained that the problem was the 3-month deadline. The economy and important supplies would be greatly affected if they prevented people from going to work for such a long period, and the association would be blamed for those losses. That was why they didn't provide full information, so no matter what happened, at least they could say they had warned the people. Junmo said he was going to the shelter now. The hunting grounds had also been isolated, so no one could hunt in this situation. Sang-woo also said he was going home, and they ended the call. Sang-woo went home and checked on number 1 and number 2. Number 2 was almost fine, but number 1's injuries were quite serious, still lying in bed. Sang-woo looked at the cooldown time it was done, so he decided to re-summon number 1. He gave number 1 a new hat to wear so he wouldn't get the 3 clones mixed up. Just then, number 3 also returned. The 3 of them went home to visit Sang-woo's parents. Sang-woo's mother opened the door, stood frozen for a moment, almost not recognizing her son. His father and younger sister also came out to welcome him warmly. His sister even directly asked who he was. Sang-woo's mother noticed the clones behind him. She asked who they were, if they were his friends. Sang-woo told the clones to take off their masks. The people in the house were startled and screamed. After some explanation, the whole family understood that it was Sang-woo's skill. A month ago, he had participated in the Awakening program. Sang-woo's father asked if he was also a hunter. His mother disagreed with that because it was very dangerous. Sang-woo tried to explain to his family that he was not in any danger. The clones hunted for him. Sang-woo told his parents that there was currently a disaster warning and they had to go to the shelter. His father didn't seem to care much. Let's see how it goes. I still have to go to work tomorrow. We can't just pack up and leave the house so suddenly. Sang-woo sighed. His father didn't know how serious the situation was because society was still quite calm. He decided to stay here with everyone from today. He lied that he had received a notice from the school that they were on break. Sang-woo took out the bag of Korean beef he had brought back earlier and told his family to eat together. Sang-woo's mother intended to invite the clones to eat, but he said to just give them some rice, no need for a fancy meal. The whole family started to sit down at the table to eat. The 3 clones sat around a large bowl of rice. The family was eating happily, when suddenly the wall of the house collapsed. Sang-woo was unconscious for a moment. He opened his eyes and looked around to see his house had become a pile of rubble. Outside, monsters filled the sky. What the hell was happening? A giant dragon roared its cry, echoing through the heavens. It gathered a fireball and shot it around. Sang-woo panicked and turned back to check on his family's situation. Everyone was unconscious. Number 1 had disappeared. It had used its body to protect everyone from the explosion. Number 3 was seriously injured, missing an arm. He didn't expect the gate to open so quickly. The family members also slowly regained consciousness. He took out his gun and told everyone to get out of here quickly. The space gate had opened. Many people would be in danger. Monsters relentlessly rampaged through the city, capturing and killing people everywhere. It was a tragic scene of death. Sang-woo gave the equipment number 1 had worn to his younger sister. The whole family prepared to evacuate. Just then a monster fell from the sky. It looked at Sang-woo and laughed maniacally. The gate appeared in the sky, and many other monsters also fell down. They all couldn't fly, so falling from such a height also caused them serious injuries. Sang-woo easily dealt with them. On the other side, Sang-woo's family tried to open the door to get out but couldn't. He took the baseball bat his father was holding, activated the enhanced one-hit skill, and broke the lock. Everyone left the apartment building, but all the cars were damaged. The nearest shelter was 2 kilometers away, and there were still many monsters falling down without being affected. Sang-woo's sister told everyone to use the underground basement. There was also a temporary shelter down there. The group was about to move there, when suddenly they heard someone cry for help. Turning around, they saw a man trapped under a pile of rubble. The monster nearby also suddenly opened its eyes. It was a D-rank monster. Sang-woo's father told him to think carefully. The situation now was not for them to save others. They had to go down. Sang-woo gritted his teeth and turned away. Number 3 couldn't fight anymore, and with only number 2, he couldn't save him. He also wasn't a clone to be able to use the merge skill. If he died, he would really die. The man on the other side cried more and more tragically. On one side was his family's constant urging to go, and on the other was the desperate cry for help. Sang-woo decided to save the person. He told his family to go down there, close the door carefully, and wait for him. Number 2 would go with him to save the person, while number 3 would stay to protect his family. Sang-woo was a hunter in a situation where monsters were swarming like this. A hunter could only do one thing: kill monsters. Sang-woo told number 2 to save the person, while he held the baseball bat and charged at the monster. "Come on, you bastard." Number 2 had freed the man from the rubble. He told him to go quickly. The monster, being called a bastard, felt insulted. It turned red with anger and growled. Sang-woo told number 2 to take out its weapon. He pulled out the fishman's gem. This was not the time to be picky. He threw the gem to number 2 and told it to eat it. Number 2 obeyed and swallowed it immediately. It instantly transformed into a monster. Sang-woo verified, "Number 2, are you still conscious?" Number 2 growled, "Yes." The D-rank monster, thinking Sang-woo was asking it, looked at him with a confused expression. Sang-woo snapped, "You're not on my team." He looked at his own body. Luckily, he was still fine. Besides the soaring stats from the clone, there seemed to be no other side effects. The two sides started to fight. Number 2, holding the sword stolen from the fish, last time slashed, and one of the monster's arms was cut off. It screamed in pain, and became even more furious, bringing its mace down on number 2. This monster was slower than the fishman, so they easily dodged its attacks. Sang-woo, holding the baseball bat, continued to charge and attack. The arm that number 2 had just cut off quickly grew back. It raised its hand to block Sang-woo's attack, and then pushed him away, sending him flying. Sang-woo rolled on the ground. He assessed the situation. This monster's skin wasn't very tough. He could easily cut it, but it regenerated too quickly. If so, dealing burst damage was impossible. Sang-woo ordered number 2 to take the monster down in a few minutes. Number 2, upon hearing the order, cut off the monster's leg, making it kneel. Sang-woo took the opportunity to shoot 2 bullets into its eyes. The monster cried out in pain, covering its face. Number 2 took that opportunity to slash continuously at the monster's other parts until its eyes regenerated. When it looked around, Sang-woo was already in front of it. He activated the quick strike skill, holding the baseball bat and smashing it straight into its face. The monster rolled over and fell to the ground unconscious. Sang-woo winced at the hand that had just held the bat. This quick strike skill's destructive power was really great. The after effects were not light either. This monster seemed a bit stronger than the fishman. Assuming the fishman was strong because it was operating in its territory, this monster was still quite strong without needing any conditions. Sang-woo stood up, brushed off his clothes, and told number 2 to hurry into the shelter. Their family was very worried. He searched around but couldn't find his phone. It must have fallen out while he was rolling around fighting. He told number 2 to lend him its phone. Sang-woo laughed, mocking number 2, saying it would be thrown out of the shelter with that appearance. Just then, another group of people being chased by monsters ran over. Sang-woo rubbed his chin, thinking, "Damn it! Monsters are still rampaging in the city." A moment later, people from other guilds also arrived. They gathered to take down the big dragon. The Canis Guild's airship, led by Won-tae, also arrived. He commanded the army to shoot down the lower-level monsters. A report came in that the big dragon was starting to leave. Won-tae ordered the army to focus on evacuating the survivors first. Many other guilds were also targeting the dragon. They would also be wasting manpower if they did the same. Wontae stood on the airship looking down. There were some so-called hunters taking the opportunity to kick people when they were down, robbing the unfortunate victims. Wontae looked at them with disdain. The low-level underlings reported that they had found some survivors 700 meters to the north and told Wontae to go check on their condition. Wontae activated his equipment. He saw Sangwoo's group fighting off monsters. He put on his mask and jumped from the airship towards them. On the other side, Sangwoo was struggling. He had planned to go back right after killing the monster from before, but there were too many people being chased by monsters. He couldn't just stand by and watch. Sangwoo shouted for the people to return to the basement of the apartment building behind them. Monsters had also surrounded them. Sangwoo ordered number 2 to protect the rear while he blocked the front. Sangwoo was exhausted. He couldn't use the quick strike skill anymore due to the high energy cost. Just then, a giant goose emerged from the ground. It stuck its beak into the ground and spewed lava. Lava shot towards the people number 2. Timely jumped out to shield them, but in return it was seriously injured. Sangwoo leaned on his stick, struggling to stand up. Just then another tiger appeared. Sangwoo knew he was about to die. He sat down waiting for death. The tiger swung its claws at him. He squeezed his eyes shut when he opened them. A man had taken down the tiger with just one slash. This man was Wontae. He asked if everyone was okay. At the same time in the shelter, Sangwoo's younger sister Ju was arguing with number 3. She insisted on going out to save her brother, but number 3 disagreed. He had to prioritize the master's command to protect the family. Sangwoo's parents, seeing this, also told their daughter to stop not to shout anymore. Everyone was scared. He had great faith that Sangwoo would return. Going out now was even more dangerous. If they went out now, they would likely become a hindrance to Sangwoo. So they shouldn't consider things based on emotion. Just then, there was a cry for help from outside the door. Ju was overjoyed. Could it be brother? Everyone looked at the camera and saw a figure outside crying for help. It might be the person Sangwoo had just saved. Ju went to open the door. She saw someone next to him. It could be her brother. Ju entered the password. The door slowly opened. Outside the door was a dead body. Behind it were 2 monsters. One was a B-rank monster, a screaming firefly capable of mimicking human voices. The people inside, seeing the monster, ran in panic. Ju was frozen, unable to move. Number 3 quickly rushed to shield Ju. It was about to poke the bug's eye, but this bug was a tough one. It pierced through number 3 and stabbed Ju in the stomach from behind. The girl spurted blood and fell. Number 3 used its gun to shoot at the gate's control panel. It located a fatal wound and initiated an emergency closure. Number 3 used all its remaining strength to push the bug out of the closing gate. Sangwoo for the first time met Wontae, the person who presided over the Awakening Project. He praised him for being willing to sacrifice himself to save people without running away. Sangwoo, being praised, also felt proud, his smile not leaving his face. Wontae remembered when he rushed down here. He saw Sangwoo's clone number 2 take a blow for the people and disappear. He was still skeptical about what it was. Wontae asked about Sangwoo's skill. He hesitated, not knowing if he should tell the truth. But just as he was about to speak, the connection with number 3 suddenly disappeared. Sangwoo picked up number 2's sword and ran for his life towards the shelter. His family was in danger. He had to go now. Wontae ordered his subordinate to track his location and take the survivors to safety. Sangwoo ran with all his might under the influence of the sword. His eyes turned red. He activated the sprint skill, running like he had never run before. The group in another area was still concentrating their fire to take down the giant dragon. They had tried everything, from slashing to poison, but nothing could penetrate its skin. They were about to cooperate to take down the dragon. But the guildmaster Hung had other ideas. He came because he heard there was money here. There was no way in hell he would cooperate. Hung executed his skill. He summoned a great fire that burned everything. On the other side, Sangwoo's parents were constantly trying to stop the bleeding for his sister. They cried non-stop, only able to encourage their daughter to endure. The bug from before, after finishing off number 3, returned and broke down the door entering. Ju, struggling, cried out for her parents to run. The firefly kept spewing disgusting words. Just then Sangwoo also arrived, seeing his sister lying unconscious on the ground. He was stunned. Anger flared up his eyes. Turning bloodshot, Sangwoo screamed and charged at the bug, attacking. However, the bug swiped and Sangwoo coughed up blood, seriously injured. The firefly was unharmed. It even kept sticking out its tongue, provoking him. Sang-woo's anger boiled over even more. He bathed the sword in his own blood and continued to charge and attack. Just as the two were about to clash, someone suddenly rushed out and stopped Sang-woo's action, pinning him to the ground. Won-tae's group had arrived in time and was ready to fight. The girl who had just stopped his action hurriedly gave Sang-woo first aid, but he was still struggling, wanting to fight. She activated a mana transfer skill to calm him down. Sang-woo cried out in pain. He said his sister was injured over there, begging her to save her. Won-tae turned serious. He comforted Sang-woo. "You and your brother will not die today." With that, he went to fight the monster. In the Hunter Association office, the association president remembered a previous conversation with old Hai Xiong. The association president intended to evacuate everyone as soon as possible to keep losses to a minimum. Hai Xiong laughed maniacally, criticizing that they didn't even know when the disaster would happen. The old man said if the association president intended to evacuate the people for 3 months, everyone would blame the association. All those who lost their families or possessions would try to gather and tear this association apart. Hai Xiong started to put pressure on the guild master. "I don't know if my head will still be on my neck next month, let alone in 3 months. The association president snapped, asking what old Hung wanted him to do. Hai Xiong told the president not to tell the people that there would be A-rank monsters to hide the danger level of this invasion. The old man told the president to make the people blame themselves for not evacuating, for being too weak to protect themselves. The association president couldn't believe it. He asked Hai Xiong if he knew how many people could die because of this incident. Old Hai Xiong, on the contrary, didn't see it as a problem. He thought it was a good thing. The more people died, the more hunters like them would be valued. Starting from D-rank monsters, the army couldn't do anything. In the end, those inferior people could only defend themselves thanks to hunters like them. Hai Xiong smiled slyly. He wasn't asking the president to do this, but forcing him. So now, the association president had no other choice but to close his eyes and ignore all announcements. Sang-woo leisurely ate snacks while his clone was arduously exercising. He lay on its back, leisurely urging it to do push-ups faster. This is still slow. Sang-woo smiled with delight. This skill was truly the best. The clone earned money and trained for him. He didn't have to do a damn thing, and his stats still increased. He didn't have to worry about anything for the rest of his life. After receiving a message from Junmo, he got up and called number 1 to go make money with him. Today he took number 1 to hunt horned rabbits again. Junmo asked where number 2 was. He replied that number 2 was exercising. Junmo asked why he didn't train. If he trained, he thought he would be much stronger. Sang-woo laughed, avoiding the question. He didn't want to train. Actually, he wasn't serious when he said he wanted to be a hunter. He had earned enough from catching horned rabbits, and these days there were many association hunters. Missing one person like him wouldn't affect anything. Junmo said he was just suggesting. He saw that he had a lot of potential, but wasn't using it. Sang-woo could become the best hunter. Sang-woo didn't think that far. He just needed to be able to take care of himself. Suddenly, Junmo's attitude changed completely. He was no longer the Junmo from before. His eyes were empty, leaking black fluid. He slashed seriously, injuring Sang-woo's arm. Unknowingly, the surrounding atmosphere had changed to a red color. Sang-woo was surrounded by a series of living dead. It was his parents blaming him and his sister, constantly crying for help. Sang-woo screamed, sat up straight, panting. It turned out it was just a dream. Won-tae stood by the bed, telling him he just woke up and shouldn't move much. Sang-woo took a deep breath, holding his arm, saying he was fine. Won-tae reminded him to be careful. He was in a bad condition. The wound was quite deep, but he was still very lucky. Sang-woo thanked Won-tae for saving him, not just once, but twice. Won-tae had something else to say, but had to save it for later. Sang-woo's parents had arrived. They were extremely worried. Seeing him awake, they were relieved and hurriedly asked if he was okay. The doctor looked at the medical examination results and said his surgery was very successful. They would keep him for observation, but with such a fast recovery rate, he could go home in a month. Sang-woo asked about the gate. It had been open for 4 days. The large, high-level monsters had been dealt with, but many of the low-level ones had escaped. Sang-woo felt a headache. He didn't remember anything after passing out. But then he was startled and hurriedly asked about his sister. His parents and the doctor bowed their heads in silence. They took him to see his sister. The doctor had treated her abdomen, but she had been infected with the mana virus. Everyone was infected by the monsters that escaped from the space gate. It was a virus that absorbed the host's mana and vitality. Mostly there were no serious problems. Each person had different attributes. If they were not compatible with this virus, the virus would die without causing any harm. But there were also rare cases where the host's mana was compatible with the virus, and the virus absorbed so much mana and vitality that they couldn't wake up. Sang-woo trembled and asked if there was a cure. The doctor said that with current technology there wasn't. The virus had synchronized with the host's mana. Even healing magic had no effect, so the only way was to continue supplying mana and nutrition. There was still a very small chance if helped by an S-rank hunter with a blessing spell, or an item like a transformed camellia tree, or a divine potion from the other side of the gate. But those things were extremely rare and extremely expensive. Sang-woo knew that. He stared blankly through the glass window, saying nothing. His hand clenched the IV stand. He blamed himself if he hadn't turned back to save that person, if he had prioritized protecting his family first. If he had been a little stronger, he would have been able to save everyone and his sister. Sang-woo gritted his teeth even harder. He broke the IV stand, causing the wound on his shoulder to bleed. The doctor and others hurriedly stopped him and gave him first aid. Sang-woo didn't care about his own wound. His tears fell. If only he had tried a little harder, it wouldn't have come to this. Sang-woo was taken back to his room. He sat dazed on the bed. The door suddenly opened. The person who came was Haeyeon. She heard he was in the hospital and came to visit. Sang-woo asked if her family was okay. He was quite worried because her house was near the danger zone, but fortunately her family was fine. Only the house was slightly damaged. Haeyeon's father had contacted Sang-woo's parents because he couldn't reach him, so he knew he was here. Sang-woo remembered he had lost his phone. He asked Haeyeon why she called him teacher instead of brother. Haeyeon was flustered and corrected her form of address. She told him to get well soon so he could continue teaching her. Sang-woo sighed. He told her he would not continue teaching her. 2 weeks later, Sang-woo's wounds had all healed. Even the doctor was amazed. He changed his clothes, preparing to be discharged. Sang-woo remembered the conversation with Haeyeon the other day. He had told her everything about his current situation. He didn't know what else to say, but sorry. Haeyeon thanked him for everything. She realized it seemed Sang-woo wouldn't contact her anymore. She forced a smile and told Sang-woo he would regret losing a beautiful student like her. She would get into university with everything he had taught her. She said she would find a boyfriend in university, and by then Sang-woo shouldn't regret it. Haeyeon smiled beautifully and left. Sang-woo knew Haeyeon's intentions, but now he didn't have time to regret. Sang-woo left the hospital. He looked up information about Won-tae, and then took a taxi to the Canis Guild building. Sang-woo walked in. The receptionist enthusiastically asked what he needed. Sang-woo said he came to see Guildmaster Park Won-tae. He didn't have an appointment, so the receptionist couldn't let him in yet. Just then, a tall, bearded man came over and asked if he was Sang-woo. He was a high-ranking commander of the guild. He invited him upstairs. Won-tae was waiting for him. Sang-woo was escorted up to Won-tae's office. He came here to thank him for everything he had done for him. He was extremely grateful that he had rescued his family and given him first aid in that situation. He was also very curious why Won-tae would go to such lengths for him. He had heard from the hospital that it was Won-tae who had provided his family with private rooms, and even temporary housing for his parents and the fees for his sister. Sang-woo asked if those things were related to what he was about to hear from Won-tae. Won-tae clenched his fists. He said he also had a younger sister, but she was currently missing along with her team members. Maybe that was why he saw a reflection of himself in Sang-woo. It was also true that his personal feelings were in turmoil. But he didn't do it so Sang-woo would feel grateful and obligated to repay him. Sang-woo asked why Won-tae wanted to see him as soon as he felt better. He wanted to ask about his ability. He asked if his clones could do everything, including the man who saved the other people. Was that also just a clone? Sang-woo didn't intend to hide it. He told Won-tae that it was his skill. Won-tae clenched his fists and went straight to the point. He needed his power. He begged him to rescue the Canis Guild's Team 1, just like how he had saved the other survivors without asking for anything in return. Won-tae was not asking Sang-woo to help in repayment. He knew the only one who had a chance to save his sister, and the other members of Team 1 could only be him. Won-tae bowed his head, sincerely begging him. Sang-woo thought for a moment. Won-tae had saved his family once. Now it was his turn to do the opposite. Won-tae was overjoyed and thanked him profusely. Sang-woo was taken to the Canis Guild's training dungeon. Won-tae told him he could use his skills as he pleased here. The interior was quite sturdy. Sang-woo found it strange why they weren't preparing to go for the rescue right away. Won-tae said there were 2 reasons for doing this. Before the rescue first, it was true that the faster they proceeded, the more chances of a successful rescue. However, it wasn't that there wasn't much time. Thanks to Won-tae's sister's ability, Team 1 had a long time to hold out. They had at least 8 months before they couldn't hold on anymore. Second was because of the dungeon level. Although they were an elite team of the Canis Guild, with an overall combat ability of rank, B Team 1 had suffered many injuries and failed to escape the dungeon, so he thought the dungeon level must be close to rank A. With Sang-woo's current level, he wasn't qualified to enter. Sang-woo suddenly felt a chill down his spine. Won-tae suddenly became serious. He said that people would reveal unbelievable powers when they were about to die. The temporary power release in a critical situation was enough to tear muscles or break bones. Of course, it was also proportional to the burst of stats. What Sang-woo lacked right now were stats. So far, he had overcome obstacles through his combat senses, but in this training, his combat senses would reach their limit. Won-tae gripped the wooden sword tightly and charged at Sang-woo. Sang-woo texted Junmo telling him not to worry about him. He was taking a break from hunting for a while. Junmo bit his nails anxiously, waiting for Sang-woo. When Sang-woo arrived, Junmo almost didn't recognize him. He had been beaten into a pig's head. Sang-woo told Junmo everything. He was alarmed and asked if he was okay. Sang-woo said he was still fine. The mana characteristics of each person were different, even in a family. So he was fine. Junmo also knew that he had accepted the mission from the Canis side. He was also quite surprised when he suddenly couldn't contact him, but he didn't expect so many things to have happened. He said he was using number 2's phone and told Junmo to change the contact name for number 2 to his name. Junmo asked if he had backed up his contacts, his friends' phone numbers, and others, but Sang-woo decided not to back them up. He thought it might be better this way. Junmo couldn't understand Sang-woo's action. He asked about the bruises on his face. Sang-woo said it was from training. Junmo jumped up. Unable to believe they had done this to Sang-woo, he would complain about this to the association's office. Sang-woo stopped his action. He said Won-tae's sister was trapped in the dungeon. He was the one who had to be more reckless than anyone. He also understood that feeling. Sang-woo summoned a clone, told it to get dressed and go attack Won-tae again. He might lose today, but tomorrow was uncertain. The next day, Sang-woo changed his tactics using numbers to his advantage. He called number 1 to attack with him. The result was that both the original and the clone were beaten to a pulp. The next day, Sang-woo called number 2 to join the fight 3 against 1. Even a one-eyed man would be crippled. The outcome for all 3 was no different from the day before. Another day, he decided to call all 3 clones to fight with him. Then all 4 of them dragged themselves home. Sang-woo returned to Junmo's place and sat down. At this point, he had to reluctantly admit that Won-tae was too strong. The clones were very good at copying movements, so it wasn't like he didn't learn anything, but the gap between them was too large. He needed to think of a way to fill that gap. Sang-woo came up with a new idea. He showed it to Junmo to see if it would work. Junmo was concerned about its safety. Sang-woo insisted that it was no problem. The next day, Sang-woo continued to come. This time, all 3 clones had transformed into monster forms. The day before, he had asked Junmo to rush by a bunch of gems for the clones to bite on, so today their stats increased dramatically. Sang-woo drew his sword. He was determined to fight with all his might today. Won-tae still gave him a handicap, holding only a stick to fight. The clones charged first. Their abilities were usually lower than the original, but now they were on par. The clones had become much stronger berserk, but in return, one of their greatest strengths, precision, had been greatly reduced. Sang-woo swung his sword. Won-tae easily dodged. Another clone pointed a gun at his head and pulled the trigger. But there were no bullets. These mana bullets had no effect on Won-tae. He grabbed Sang-woo's wrist tightly and hit him with a painful blow from the stick. The other 3 clones attacked simultaneously, but Won-tae easily blocked them all. He held the wooden sword and advised Sang-woo to pour mana into the sword, and his hand mixing them as if they were one. If he mastered this technique, just a tree branch would be enough to slash a monster. Sang-woo struggled to his feet. He was determined not to give up. He gritted his teeth, held the sword, and continued to slash, but Won-tae easily blocked it with a single move. He said that he had also become stronger, but it was still not enough to defeat him. Won-tae with 1 against 1 only needed a wooden sword to defeat Sang-woo and his clones. With Sang-woo's current level, he couldn't consider him a C-rank hunter. Sang-woo was beaten until his nose bled. He stubbornly continued to attack even though his clones had all collapsed. He had a great determination, not to stop at just C rank. Sang-woo turned and howled at his clones. He started to play tricks again, telling them to look at Won-tae's face. High nose, sharp chin, exactly like a gem. He shouted for them to go eat the captain. Whoever bit him first would win. Immediately, the clones, as if injected with chicken blood, charged again, but one by one they were knocked back by Won-tae. Actually, Sang-woo wanted to become stronger, not just because of Won-tae's request. Ever since he opened his eyes in the hospital, he had felt something, a sense of helplessness, when he had to entrust his family's safety to others in a time of crisis. He hated his own weakness, the frustrating feeling when the result didn't match his efforts. He didn't want to feel that feeling ever again. Sang-woo's blood boiled. He held the sword with both hands and continued to attack. He had no intention of stopping. 6 months later, at the Gaseodong hunting ground, a group of big shots were ganging up on another group. They beat them until they were bruised and their noses bled. The girl on the weaker side shouted, questioning why they were doing this. They had official licenses to enter the hunting ground. The big shot snapped, telling her to shut up. They were from the Silver Moon Guild. Their guild was currently using this Gaseodong as a hunting ground. If they wanted to hunt, they should scram. The gatekeepers nearby saw the dispute but had no intention of interfering, turning their heads as if they didn't see anything. The leader of the Silver Moon Guild squinted at the girl, and then suddenly changed his mind, letting them enter the hunting ground together. His underlings kept praising him for his kindness and mercy. They laughed maniacally. The weaker team knew they were being played, but they had no other choice but to endure it. Suddenly, from a distance, a young man in a hooded cloak walked straight into the hunting ground. The gatekeeper tried to block his bruised face, but the hooded person didn't understand. He had paid to enter, so why couldn't he? The Silver Moon Guild member, seeing he seemed like an ignorant fellow, puffed out his chest, cracked his knuckles, and without hesitation, arrogantly swung his fist straight at the hooded person's face. But before the fist could land, it was caught by the hooded man. He lifted his leg and kicked the big guy in the stomach, causing him so much pain that he rolled on the ground, clutching his stomach. The hooded man, seeing his action was a bit excessive, lowered his voice and apologized. He thought the other man was going to hit him, so he didn't know what else to do but defend himself. He was just a little startled, so he hit him. The man took off his hood. It was Sang-woo. He vaguely heard something about a Silver Moon Guild, but he didn't care. He looked at the man, still red-faced and crying in pain, kneeling on the ground. He kicked him in the head. What the hell does my entering the hunting ground have to do with your guild hunting here? The big guy on the ground drooled, unable to speak, only managing to utter 3 words, "You damn bastard." The entire Silver Moon Guild was furious that this kid dared to disrespect their guild. They surrounded Sang-woo, even bragging that they were D-rank hunters, so don't expect to fight back when he was alone. But I'm not alone, I have several me's. Now the one surrounded was the pot-bellied guy. Over here, Park Won-tae came to find Junmo. He came to get the compiled information about Sang-woo. Junmo handed it over and said, "As I said before, you don't need to take a picture or hand it back to me." He said he just wanted to check it a little. Won-tae thoughtfully read the information sheet. He couldn't believe Sang-woo could increase his stats this much in just 6 months. Junmo confirmed, "Yes, recently it feels like he has become a completely different person after that accident. Sang-woo has become obsessed with hunting and experience." Junmo wondered if these stats were enough for him to carry out the plan. That was a given. Won-tae already had another plan if he failed, so there was no need to worry. But looking at these series of numbers, it was indeed a terrifying growth rate. First, it would start with the rescue mission of Team 1. Won-tae was extremely curious in his heart. Sang-woo had surpassed D rank, almost A rank one day. He would surely reach a high rank. The clone skill made the user stronger. The stats indicated that he didn't know how strong he had become. Back to the noisy crowd being beaten to a pulp, they were continuously being fed punches, not knowing what the hell was happening before their eyes. The gatekeeper requested them to stop. He thought Sang-woo was being too much. He stared at him. "You should have said that when that hunter was being beaten, not now. You did nothing when they drew their swords. I'm not blaming you, but you'd better know your place and go back to guarding the gate." With that, he ordered all the clones to destroy all their phones so they couldn't communicate. The 3 overconfident guys stood silently in the midst of the bustling life. In the Gaseodong hunting ground, this uncle was taking the opportunity to steal some things. He held a piece of red stone. As soon as he picked it up, it felt like an electric current shot through his body. This difficulty made him angry, and he threw the stone far away. Hearing a noise, he guessed someone was coming and quickly ran away. Seeing Sang-woo arrive, he started to act shy and likable. "You're here, I need more time to finish." Sang-woo was like, "Who is this guy?" Then he realized it was the Horned Rabbit. From a long time ago. He wondered how he could get in here. The Silver Moon Guild must be guarding the entrance. He got closer and said, "I was about to ask you that question. You're not strong, and this is a D-rank dungeon. So what are you doing here? This sneaky look doesn't seem like you're hunting." Looking at this appearance, it seems the Silver Moon Guild has locked him up here. Sang-woo pulled out a picture of the D-rank hunters who had just been stripped to intimidate him. "I don't want to comfort you or anything, I just want to know what's happening. Either you tell me why you're locked up here, or you'll join the loincloth-wearing Hunters Guild." The uncle struggled internally and finally had to spill the beans. D-rank monsters drop treasures after they die. Not always. These gems are in their bodies for a long time, even after death. They often fight in the dungeon. Sang-woo started to connect the dots. Two monsters fight, one loses, and drops a treasure. Then it calls a new one to continue fighting, and then drops another one. This way, a pile of treasures accumulates in the dungeon. For D-rank hunters, these treasures are random items not worth picking up, so they gather low-level hunters and lock them here until they have enough. The reason they were in this situation was because they owed the guild or were sold to the guild. Most were debtors or new hunters if they encountered a monster, and died in the dungeon. It was just like a monster dying in the dungeon. Looking at the scene before him, Sang-woo couldn't believe he was witnessing this with his own eyes. He just decisively said, "Go," which startled the uncle. "Go before I change my mind." "Oh, this is so touching I could cry." This brat turned out to be a good person. Just when he thought he met a savior, he asked for the bag of treasures. "What are you touched about? Our relationship isn't that good." Hey, this uncle picked up a lot. My time has come. He fed it all to number one. Number one gobbled it up. Free stuff is delicious. Now they started collecting treasures. He would make good use of them. Over here, a young girl was being chased by a monster. "Catch me if you can. If you can't, you're a dog." This ferocious monster was a C-rank abomination. She had never heard of a C-rank monster appearing here. This girl was Kim Yoo-hyun, an employee of the Silver Moon Guild. Yoo-hyun was chased until she was exhausted, tripping and falling flat on her face. She couldn't accept that she would die in a place like this. But her time was not up yet, so she met Sang-woo. He just gently picked Yoo-hyun up and saved her life. Yoo-hyun was breathless. "Someone, you saved my life? Also, don't you have any precious gems? Why didn't you collect some?" Yoo-hyun said she had given up on those things a long time ago. Despite the monster about to close in, Sang-woo remained calm. "You threw them away. And you said something about the Haesung Guild. Did the Silver Moon Guild send you?" The white monster was suddenly raped by the red monster. "I don't care what's happening in the world around me. I just want to know what's up with the Haesung Guild." Yoo-hyun said nothing, intending to run away. But there was no escape. "How can you act like that when the monsters are surrounding us?" Sang-woo just said, "Don't mind them because the clones are cleaning up behind." Looking at the people in front of her, Yoo-hyun couldn't help but wonder if they were a team, or if he was a summoner. "Who are these guys really? Are they safe? Is it safe?" It was super safe, but also not very safe. The two red monsters, which were Sang-woo's number one, were also beaten to a pulp. "This face doesn't look trustworthy at all. Safe my ass." He couldn't believe number one could lose after eating a whole basket of treasures like that. In this situation, only running would save them. Yet this young man was still extremely calm. "Wait here a minute. I fed them a lot of expensive things." Yoo-hyun was about to speak but was cut off by Sang-woo. "Shut your mouth. I need to concentrate. Here it comes. This monster's number is up." Sang-woo rushed to deal with one of the monsters, then continued to attack continuously. He needed to take them down as quickly as possible. Sang-woo frantically attacked. This strength amazed Yoo-hyun. He was too strong. Staring at the monster had made his eyes red, covered with blood vessels. Sang-woo told himself to calm down. In a moment of distraction, it attacked from behind. Fortunately, the clones blocked it. He turned around, drew his sword, and cut the disgusting monster in half, so it was completely destroyed. "Damn it, I'll feel disgusted every time I use this sword again." After finishing, he turned around and saw Yoo-hyun standing with her mouth wide open in astonishment. "You defeated that monster. Hey, you still haven't run away." "What? It was you who told people not to run away, to stand still and not move. What's wrong?" "I was just hoping. I didn't expect you to actually do it." "That's great." "Oh, I forgot. Number one is lying there groaning in pain." "He's fine, totally fine." but it's strange he should have recovered by now. Yuhyun explained that on the monster's bone sword, there was a corrosive curse placed on it. If we didn't have a healer, we would die. It's true, the main character is lucky. He almost got hit by one of its swords. But in bad luck, there was also good luck. Even though they ate a lot of gems, they only knew how to take blows instead of dodging. Yuhyun looked at this red guy and didn't think he was the person she thought he was. She even thought he was a giant wearing a hat after hearing Sang-woo say he was a summoner. Yuhyun struggled with her thoughts and decided to give him a bottle of medicine. Here, if you give this to him, he can live a little longer. But if anything happens, don't blame me. What kind of shoddy medicine is this life-extending potion with a skull on it? Well, at this point, there's no other choice. He poured the medicine into number one's mouth. Number one's body emitted a disgusting smell. The wound gradually recovered. Sang-woo exclaimed, "The effect is great. What kind of medicine is this?" Number one jumped up as if nothing had happened. Sang-woo was overjoyed. He looks fine. Yuhyun then started to speak. Only for now, it has a side effect. His vitality will gradually deplete. My ability is that of a poison master. A little about the poison master. Level 5 creates poison. The number of formulas increases based on the level. The mastery of each formula can be increased. Uses poison to convert life energy to restore injured parts. The higher the mastery, the less life energy is consumed. With the regeneration effect, the side effect is to slowly deplete the user's vitality, increasing strength by using poison to stimulate the body. So that meant number one would eventually die after its vitality ran out. Well, since you're going to die anyway, doing this is still better than dying right from the start. Sang-woo turned to number one and said, "Go hunt before you disappear." He teleported away so Sang-woo would have to summon him again. Yuhyun had told him all about her abilities. She demanded that Sang-woo also tell her about his abilities. "Who are you? You have pets that look exactly like monsters and each one is extremely strong. You even managed to skewer that monster. I've never heard of anyone like you among the B-rank hunters in the whole country." Of course she hadn't heard of him because he was an E-rank hunter. Yuhyun didn't believe it. An E-rank? How can you be in a C-rank dungeon and hunt so easily? Sang-woo didn't answer, just cheerfully turned back and asked, "Why are you talking as if I'm your friend?" At the Yahello Guild warehouse, many containers of treasures were being transported. Guild leader Han Mi-ho was actively collecting them. This three-headed girl was the guild manager Kim Seona. She didn't understand why Mi-ho was collecting these things. She had never done this before. "I'm just helping Mr. Wante. He said he would give a high price for them." Seona looked at the overflowing containers. Why does he need so many? Does he have that many pets? Mi-ho overheard that there was someone named Dong Sang-woo who needed these gems. Back at Sang-woo's place, seeing her expression, he thought to himself, "This guy is so sensitive about these things. What should I do? What if he's a bad guy?" Yuhyun didn't understand why he asked that. He could also talk to her comfortably like that. It wasn't a problem at all. Sang-woo thought this guy was crazy. He slowly stood up. "Actually, that's not the question I'm most curious about. Why did you mention the High-Sung Guild when you were running away? I want to ask about this." Yuhyun was like, question mark. "You introduced yourself as a hunter, but don't know about these things. That's really strange." Sang-woo scratched his head in embarrassment. Well, it's because he just got his hunter's license not long ago, so he doesn't know much about the issues between guilds. Yuhyun explained to this new hunter that the Silver Moon Guild was like a subordinate guild of the High-Sung Guild. They pretended not to know anything, but Silver Moon did all the dirty work for High-Sung. I'm pretty sure many people who were brought here were also because of the High-Sung Guild. Sang-woo asked her who had brought her here. When she heard this question, a childhood memory suddenly flashed back. Yuhyun, with a scared expression, said, "That's information you don't need to know." Then she tormented herself for telling this guy all her skills. Sang-woo was like, what the hell did this girl eat? "Well, I've got the information I need, so goodbye." "Hey, aren't you done yet?" "What, it's just the beginning." Sang-woo told her she could leave now. There was no one at the gate. The Silver Moon bastards were gone too. Before leaving, he didn't forget to praise her skills as being quite okay, my skills. You gave me them. You'll die if you drink even a little of it." But earlier Sang-woo didn't care about the side effects. He gave Yuhyun a filthy business card. "If you don't have a place to work, or if you're afraid the High-Sung Guild will retaliate, just call me at the number on the business card. It also has my address, and the agents at this place also hate the High-Sung Guild's guts. Now I'm leaving. Number 5 will take care of escorting this girl out of the gate. Sang-woo started hunting one monster at a time. He thought Yoo-hyun's skills would be very useful for his clones. Should I try to persuade her again? Number 1 was fighting enthusiastically when it suddenly fell to the ground. This was the side effect of the medicine. Sang-woo thought he could withstand it thanks to the regeneration skill. Well, you did a good job. He summoned it again. It was that eyesore image again. Put on your clothes and cover that little bird. Then get back to hunting. Hiding behind were the B-rank hunters. Has he left yet? Yes, he's gone. They couldn't believe their eyes. I thought he was human, but that monster was really scary. Then the two naked guys stood there talking to each other. I thought he was dead, but he came back to life, which was scary. I wonder what his skill is, and judging by the way he talks, it seems there are still a few more people like him. Are we in danger? Damn it, if at least we still had our equipment. Equipment. We'd still get beaten to a pulp, right? The guy with the 2-part hair wondered why they came back. Even the gem collectors ran away. The guy with the 3-part hair touched the wall, searching for an anomaly. You idiot, don't you know where this is? The reason we are limited to hunting in this area. At least we should check where this place is. Luckily, he hasn't found this place yet. Behind this step was a mysterious room. This place seemed to be a production factory. They didn't know what they were building here, because the materials could be supplied directly from the hunting ground, and the chance of someone finding this place was very low. And besides, who would think of investigating in this hunting ground? These things are not opium, and they are much more valuable than opium. These are definitely refined gems. Their ability is 100 times better than normal gems, and just one of these will increase our stats by 0.5 points. But the side effect is turning into a monster, and even the most loyal beast loses control. That's why the Hunters Union has completely banned this thing. 2-part hair thought the effect wasn't worth it at all. What's the use of increased stats when you've turned into a monster? At that time, not enough people were willing to take the risk. That's why it was very cheap before. But recently, things have changed completely, changing the value of this thing. It's because of a project called GPT. There's a place where they recycle this thing to create a product that can be used on people. Because of this GP project, the troll company bought gems like crazy. But because making this thing is illegal, its value increased like a kite in the wind. No one thought this junk could make money. They could make millions with these things. 3-part hair thought that with a few kids, they could be beaten with a fan in a fight. But if they brought this back, it would be different. He would leave it here and come back tomorrow. 2-part hair didn't understand why he would leave it here instead of taking it with him. Are you going to stop those bastards if they catch us holding this? Do you ever use your brain? We can't even carry a little of it. Look at the appearance of these two. Wearing only underwear would attract too much attention. They carefully closed the secret door. On this side, Yoo-hyun had witnessed everything, finally found you. She angrily shouted for number 5 to come back and bring her here. Number 5, with a fragile heart, was scolded so much that it didn't dare to resist and quietly returned. She decided to stay in this hunting ground, and luckily those damn Silver Moon bastards led her right to the place, but she didn't understand why they were naked. So she successfully found the pile of crystal gems in that room. The quantity was quite large. She took out a 30-gallon bag to carry them. But looking at this pile, it was quite heavy. She wondered if carrying it would attract attention. On this side, number 5 was showing everyone the way out of the gate quickly. This was her chance to blend in with them. Number 5 saw that Yoo-hyun had left safely, so the mission was completed, lucky me. So Yoo-hyun successfully survived and got out of the gate with the pile of crystal gems she had dug up. She ran without looking back for a second. Damn you, Silver Moon Guild. Sang-woo also thought everyone had escaped and was safe. The monsters had also been cleaned up, and the important thing was that the bag was full of gems. He was excited. I was wondering why I couldn't find any gems to buy lately. These things are the best. Number 1 looked at the bag of gems, its stomach rumbling, drooling like rain. Should I eat it all? Don't, man, if you turn into a monster, everyone will be scared. The clone skill is on cooldown, so we'll deal with it tomorrow. At this time, Sang-woo also received a message from Kang Jun-mo, scheduling a meeting at the Canis Guild tomorrow. They would explain the mission. The next day, the two guys dressed discreetly, and all but when they returned, the pile of crystal gems was gone. He was furious. Tomorrow was the deadline. 3-part hair went crazy and grabbed the gatekeeper by the throat. "You bastard, if you're paid to do this job, do it carefully. Why did you let someone else in?" The gatekeeper was really having a bad day. Who can forbid other hunters when they buy a ticket to enter? And besides, the ones who got out were the ones he had locked up. Hearing this, he seemed to lose his soul and let him go. Why those bastards? Thinking of those three's faces, he was already scared to death. How could he get it back from them? Yuhyun, when she got out, still couldn't believe they had brought her to a dungeon for C-rank hunters. She could have died if it weren't for Sang-woo's help. At least she brought back a bag of spoils. The Silver Moon Guild might be suspicious if she sold them right away, so Yuhyun decided to temporarily hide them to get through this sensitive time. Suddenly, Sang-woo's business card fell out. Remembering his words, she was angry. He doesn't know a damn thing. That damn bastard, you think I'll go there if you flatter me. At Odin's Tower, a level 5 undiscovered dungeon, it was known that the strongest hunter of the first generation Baek Hwan had found this place and challenged it. But they lost contact with him immediately, and he never returned. Soon after, countless hunters challenged it, but all failed, even with just passing through the lowest levels. There was only one exception for the fake teleporter Gigi Lucas, and that was where Team 1 of the Canis Guild got stuck, including Wantae's sister. Odin's Tower was a dungeon with a special structure, only an entrance, no exit. The only thing connecting it to the outside world was mana. The only way to contact them was using the telepathy skill. Because of that, the way to escape was very limited. Sang-woo had to complete the dungeon or escape using the teleportation skill. That was why his clone skill was so important. Other hunters couldn't escape if something went wrong in the dungeon. That's why he needed Sang-woo. He wondered if there was no other way for Team 1 but to escape by their own strength. On their side, they had equipped Team 1 with a way to escape, but they still hadn't escaped. He sighed. I'll tell you a story about what happened in Odin's Tower, about how everything went off track. Wantae continued, the story happened 5 years ago, the great disaster of 2005. My sister awakened her ability in the darkest moment, not long after the disaster ended. Park Wantae was just a 16-year-old boy. Park Yuna was 9. He was tiredly fighting monsters. His sister shyly gave him a packet of cookies. At this time, Wantae also discovered that his sister had the ability to create a dimension like a storage bag. She also didn't know how to do it. It suddenly appeared she could store a lot of things in it. Wantae patted Yuna's head. You have a very good skill. This is a very useful skill, Yuna. Now go home and sleep, you must be tired too. So the two siblings carried each other on their backs through the sea of disaster. They went through many dangerous situations together thanks to those abilities. When they were young, they could put items, even people, into that sub-dimension. Wantae thought it would be better if the two of them went to handle a dungeon together. Until they both grew up, Yuna had become the leader of Team 1 of the Canis Guild. She was still playfully bullying her brother. The staff witnessed it with wide eyes when they saw the guildmaster being beaten. The two siblings were having a small conflict. Wantae opposed going to Odin's Tower without a user of teleportation magic. Accompanying the team, Yuna was annoyed. Again. So why did we buy the teleportation magic scroll? There are less than 100 players using teleportation magic in the whole world. We don't even have one. How do you think we can recruit one immediately? If not now, it will be never. The strength of Team 1 is in its best condition, and we also have my skill. This is the only chance. Wantae still hesitated. You don't trust me to handle this mission. So he gritted his teeth and suppressed his anger. Even when Team 1 left, he was still not sure if they would clear that dungeon. At that time, he really didn't know who the real team leader was. Yuna promised him she would come back if they encountered danger. She knew it would be very bad to leave her family behind without returning. Of course, it's not just the teleportation magic scroll to escape. I also have a lot of food and medicine with me. And she showed it to him to reassure him. Now thinking back, he regretted the decision to let his sister go. He shouldn't have been persuaded by such a reason. He shouldn't even have felt relieved just because of things like emergency supplies when his sister brought them. So Yuna and Team 1 set off. He really regretted that moment for not stopping them. After that, he was dazed like a lost soul. You think they won't make it? They've been preparing for it for years. You're being overprotective of the team leader, besides their guild master, who can believe them. These words convinced Wantae. Anyway, the person has already gone. Let's just try to trust her. This was also the time he was preparing to organize a program for fake awakeners. That competition was also the one Sang-woo had participated in. Maybe it was too hard at that time, so no one recognized him. The guild had also used a magic scroll to contact Team 1. They brought 10, and would report back weekly because they couldn't enter a team. From the guild also stayed outside the entrance to Odin's tower in charge of contacting Yuna. In the first report, there were no problems. Then the second, the third, everything went very smoothly, so Wontae also quickly started to calm down. A problem occurred after a month. That day was the day to receive the report from Team 1 as expected. Today they would have gone 40 kilometers. They started to tear the communication foil. They had gone 700 meters after passing the end of the first floor. An unidentified monster ambushed Team 1. Most of the team members were fighting monsters. By the time the damage report was recorded, the signal was jammed, making the head of the staff member receiving the news feel like it was about to explode. They had torn many magic scrolls at the same time, leading to a disturbance in the transmission line. At that time, Wontae turned his head and saw the most terrifying sight. A person covered in blood stepped out of the teleportation circle. It was because of his indecisive decision to save them. At that time, the result of irresponsibility was covered up by the two words, trust. Everything seemed to collapse before Wontae's eyes. He rushed to check the situation of and call the rescue team. The information gate began to crack. Currently, telepathy could still be connected. The guild requested the rescue team to send a team to check outside the tower in the afternoon and never to enter the tower unless they were sure they could do it. Everyone was trying to give Esti first aid. At this moment, he could only say sorry. We failed. The monster tore all the scrolls. We've never seen a monster like that in the report. He was bleeding a lot. This situation required him to be taken to the hospital quickly. Wontae sat dazed. At this time, telepathy was still connected. The staff member would repeat the words they wanted to say. It was Yuna's voice. The battle is over. I'm sorry, I think the mission has failed. I thought we could do it? I can wait in here. Don't worry, I will come back no matter what happens. Wontae trembled, listening to his sister's last words. After that, they hired many hunters, but none of them accepted. Everyone considered it a crazy idea, Odin's tower. Are you crazy? If we could enter with a teleportation scroll, how do you explain your team being stuck in there? Sorry, but my baby can't be 5 kilometers away from me, and of course I don't want to go alone. After that, the information gate disaster happened, and Wontae met Sangwoo. That's why he wanted Sangwoo to meet the necessary stats, because at least he had the ability to get to where the team was stuck. Sangwoo always did everything in his power very well. It was time to carry out the rescue mission. The Canis Guild would escort him to the entrance of Odin's tower. They would start tomorrow. In other side, the revenge-seeking group that lost the crystal gems was being beaten to a pulp. The one going crazy was the leader of the Silver Moon Guild, Duan. He screamed in helplessness. You bastards, I told you to go in there and hunt. What's so hard about that? I sent a bunch of D-rank bastards and asked you to guard the entrance, but what the hell did you all do? What do you want me to do now? After cursing and venting on his underlings, he calmed down and asked for the identity of the brat who took his crystal gems. They all covered their faces. One was in full HD. No complaints, but he wasn't on the list of D-rank hunters and above. He got even crazier thinking they were defeated by an E-rank hunter. The old man continued to angrily beat the other guy. You think we're the only ones producing refined gems? If we don't gather enough money to give to the High Sung Guild, you think they'll happily wait. No, everything will end if they replace me with another supplier. I won't say anything more. Find that brat and bring him here to me. The whole group shouted, yes, sir. But looking at this group, he also predicted that they would still be beaten like the previous ones. What a bunch of useless people, so annoying. The urgent matter now was where to get those gems. A dangerous-looking guy was sitting nearby, the vice leader of the guild, Kang Cheon-seong. He was excited about this. We will find out who that guy is. If we beat up a few, I don't know why they waste time on these things. It seemed he had a plan. The next day at the JM organization, Sangwoo felt that Wontae was not lying because there were some important issues that he did not mention. The reason they tried to wipe out Odin's tower. Sangwoo knew nothing about the hunter industry, but he knew about Odin's tower. Odin's tower was conquered in 2012. According to the statement that year, Odin's tower was completely empty, with only one monster left, no treasure or items. Don't enter Odin's tower to sacrifice yourself in vain. After that, hunters stopped entering or caring about it. Therefore, it became an abandoned dungeon. But Wontae did not explain why his sister's mission team tried so hard to enter. However, Sangwoo did not need Junmo to review this issue. His mission was to rescue them, not to wipe out the dungeon, so he would only focus on the mission now. Suddenly, Sangwoo saw Yu Hyun sleeping in a corner. Junmo wondered who that was. Oh, I met her at the hunting ground. I told her if she didn't have a place to work, she could come here. Although he did not expect to see her like this at the entrance. Junmo went to wake the girl up with a face like a kidnapper, which scared the girl. Before greeting each other, her stomach greeted them first. Let's go eat something first. So they went to the restaurant in front of the building. She ate voraciously like a hungry tiger. Sang-woo saved my phone number on this girl's phone. You came here like this, so you came to work for the JM organization, right? Yoo-hyun said yes. Junmo asked about her skills, appraising some items and making medicine. But Sang-woo interrupted, saying he would die slowly after drinking it. That's great, you're handsome, but you're so tactless. Yoo-hyun grabbed this tactless guy's hair, messing up his newly styled hair. There are also medicines that don't kill people. Although you die, they have great effects instead. Sang-woo wanted to take advantage of these skills of hers. He even planned to use it for his clone. Junmo started to take out a pen and paper to take notes. Please buy some tools to produce medicine. I will also provide some money. Sang-woo stood up to leave first because he had to go to the dungeon. Yoo-hyun thought this guy was going hunting again. But this time was different. This time, his goal was not to hunt. She threw him 2 bottles of medicine. She had made it before, one for strength and one for mana. However, they also had side effects. The strength potion would melt muscles, and the mana potion would make the body explode. How interesting. So Sang-woo and his clones started on their way. First, he promised to treat them to a meal when they returned. With high spirits, work would be more effective. That night, Siona was going to the Yahello Guild warehouse. The guild leader wanted her to move all the gems and precious stones to the Canis Guild. Suddenly, she discovered that the security guards had been attacked. The room also showed signs of a break-in. Siona did not know who dared to steal the treasures of the Yahello Guild. She started to activate her thief skill and search for these thieves after seeing them lurking in there. She immediately rushed in. As soon as she stepped in, she was attacked. She was sure that only people in the warehouse were around, so she directly rushed in. Who is this guy? Yes. He was the vice leader of Silver Moon. He smugly said, "We hid so well, only a fool would answer. Sorry, but we really need this treasure." So they took all the treasure in the warehouse. Then they burned down the warehouse. This treasure heist was completed. Next was to find out who had stolen the precious crystal gems. On this side, Sang-woo and his clones had landed in Iceland. This was the first time he had set foot in another country. They went to Valhalla Portal together, which connected to the main gate of Odin's Tower. Sang-woo was greeted by 2 cool security guards. "Are you Dong Sang-woo, Mr. Park? Won-tae is waiting for you at the entrance. You can go see him now." This magnificent place was the entrance to Odin's Tower, a bottomless abyss and an endless void in the distance. This place did not look like a tower at all, and this place was very cold. It was better to go back to the guild's camp. At this time, Won-tae had also received information that the Yahello Guild's warehouse had been completely robbed. It seemed they had planned very carefully. The precious stones were all taken, not a single one left. What audacious people. They probably did not know what kind of person Han Miho was. Seeing Sang-woo arrive, the two were as happy as seeing their mother coming back from the market. "You're finally here. This day has finally come. We haven't seen each other for a while, but I missed you so much." They had prepared a coat for him because it was quite cold here. The clones also quickly put on new coats. Won-tae started the mission. The disappearance occurred at a location about 40 kilometers from the entrance, a distance not as far as Sang-woo expected. He wondered why they could only travel such a short distance in a whole month, but because of that, the food supply would be fine. They would proceed slowly. Won-tae gave him 3 teleportation scrolls. It was prepared for emergencies. He thought he should give one to each clone. These are important, so remember to keep them carefully. The location is already marked on the scroll. Just tear the scroll and it will automatically activate. At 2 p.m., the guild had asked Team 1 to check the situation outside. There will surely be many traces of the battle left, so it will be easy to find the location. Won-tae asked Sang-woo if he had any other questions. He just wanted to ask what he wanted to eat after I bring his sister back. Won-tae was very surprised by this question. It showed Sang-woo's confidence and affirmed his ability. "We will make some dishes ourselves." So they prepared swords and brought a few bottles of medicine. The clones started to set off. They entered the gate. Sang-woo also started to activate the fusion skill. Won-tae this time placed all his hopes on the young man in front of him. The fusion skill was performed quite well. They encountered a rather large snowstorm. Although his ability to withstand the cold was relatively good, he still could not escape this cold. After a while of struggling, everyone also reached Odin's tower. But Sang-woo had a very strange feeling. He could control the entire body of number 1. The fusion skill had now reached a new level. Sang-woo could not only share all his senses with the clone, but also had complete control over their bodies. The feeling was so real, as if he was really moving. He would give orders about the locations the clones needed to go to. All right, now, let's go rescue Team 1. Looking at this solid ice wall, this was why it was impossible for them to escape. It was all blocked. How was this place created? According to what was written in the paper, monsters would appear from the moment they entered the tower. As soon as he finished speaking, a monster really appeared. It was the frost bat. A clone quickly raped it. E-rank monsters would attack from the moment they set foot in, and they always attacked in packs. So you had to pay attention to all 4 directions, and one of their characteristics was that there was always a leader in a flock of frost bats. It was the Frost Bat Lord, a D-rank monster. It bared its sharp teeth, wanting to eat Sang-woo. I'll deal with you directly. Just 1/no second/. He did not think it would be that simple. Let's continue on our way. It's so weak, not satisfying to fight at all. All the monsters did not have a good end, although they were all nothing. They had also gone 13 kilometers. That was a quarter of the way. As predicted, new monsters would soon appear. As soon as he said it, a giant monster came out of the rock cave with the voice of a demon. It held a huge mace intending to smash Sang-woo to pieces. He also quickly used the magic bullet skill. Number 3 would support from behind and number 2 from the front. The 2 sides started to fight. Each person had one. No one fought over another's. The monsters were continuously beaten. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. If it continued like this, it would be easy to wipe them out. Suddenly at this time the ground shook. The ground under everyone's feet also cracked. Everyone was in danger. Outside the camp, Won-tae was very worried about Sang-woo. Team 1 was the most elite attack team in the guild, and they still had difficulty passing through that place. Won-tae had also planned a campaign to be able to secretly infiltrate that place while avoiding fighting with monsters as much as possible, and rescue the team. The lowest rank required in that campaign was C rank. However, the growth rate of Hunter Sang-woo exceeded his expectations. He thought Sang-woo had increased nearly 20 points for most stats in just 6 months. His current stats had reached the level of an A2B rank hunter. More importantly, Sang-woo's clones were also growing stronger. Their stats were lower than their masters, but their movements were super elite. It was not an exaggeration to say that they also possessed the ability of an A2B rank hunter. The average rank of Team 1 was B rank. Won-tae believed that he alone was equivalent to the entire Team 1. If the Yahello Guild's warehouse had not been raided, Sang-woo could have grown even more with the gems the guild had prepared. In this case, besides the ice golem mentioned in the report, no other monster could stop him on the first floor. Won-tae had also warned Sang-woo about the ice golem, so he would also avoid it and move well. Although it was very difficult to pass without encountering that damn monster. This one-eyed monster was the ice golem. Sang-woo tried to slash it, but it had no effect at all. Oh no, game over. Fortunately, he managed to escape before being eaten by it. But the situation now was also quite difficult. There was no way to cause damage to that monster if he couldn't cut it with this sword. Those little monsters intended to take the opportunity to rush up, but the ice golem picked them up with one hand and threw them into its mouth. It was literally eating them. The Sang-woo who witnessed this event could not believe his eyes. It continued to extend its dirty hands towards them. Fortunately, he ordered everyone to dodge immediately. He needed to quickly find the magic core of these monsters. Where the hell is its magic core? Although he had seen it, the important problem was how to destroy it. His magic gun did not even leave a scratch on it. Now there was only one way. Sang-woo ordered the clones to quickly get out of the attack range of that damn monster. However, number 5 was still sent flying by it. The monster had taken down number 5, the one holding the scroll that could teleport instantly. Speaking of instant teleportation, Sang-woo suddenly thought of something. He ran like the wind towards it. The monster was preparing to put number 5 in its stomach, but this was his chance. He also teleported really fast to get the scroll. The moment it bit down hard, the clones below all held their breath. Sang-woo had successfully escaped death's door. What it had just swallowed was not only number 5, but also the thing that would take its life. The moment the monster realized what had happened, it also exploded. This was number 5's teleportation magic scroll. If he could not destroy its core, he only had the option of throwing it somewhere else. Its core had been teleported back to the camp. Everyone there must have been terrified. They did not know what this thing was. So the golem was completely destroyed. His strength, health defense, and mana stats all increased. Sang-woo's clone skill had been enhanced. The clone used energy to summon a replica with a completely identical appearance to you. The number of clones you could summon increased depending on your level. The maximum number of clones you could summon was currently 7. The cooldown was ready to use now. Seeing the notification board, Sang-woo was moved to tears. Unlike other skills, he could not find a way to increase his clone skill, but he would not summon another clone at this time. All right, let's continue on our way. On this side, a handsome six-packed hot boy was taking a bath. It was a real eye-catcher. His subordinate sent him a list of people who had scheduled appointments this month. After looking through it, he noticed that none of them were from a guild in Korea. He felt it was meaningless. Something had changed. He requested his subordinate to refuse everyone and continue to organize the opening ceremony of the academy. On this side, the uncle at the hunting ground was helped by Sang-woo to escape and had a chance to enjoy this bowl of noodles. His senior Gunseok also understood. No wonder he could not contact Gatsu. His junior had been caught by the Select Moon. To be more precise, Hung had handed him over to them. Gunseok thought his junior's fate was quite lucky. How did you manage to escape from those bastards? He just said he had been helped. Seok also seemed to understand something. He did not ask further. Anyway, everything is fine now. Chang-wook is quite busy. Please help him out. Suddenly there was a noise outside. Seok went to open the door. As soon as he opened the door a little, he was punched in the face. This uninvited guest was Cheon-seong, found you. To save time, who attacked a member of my guild at the hunting ground. Answer carefully. This is the third person I've asked this question. The two before said they knew nothing. Let's see if you also know nothing. His blood-stained hands showed the fate of the previous ones. The fat guy was furious that someone was causing trouble in his house. He rushed to punch him, but Cheon-seong easily blocked it. He smiled with a challenging expression. You're showing off, huh? But I'm pretty good too. As he spoke, he twisted his opponent's hand with one hand, making him punch himself in the face. Next time, make sure you can hit before you attack. I hate guys who show off like this. Seeing his boss being beaten, Gasu immediately intervened. Wait, I'll go with you. Please stop. Cheon-seong froze for 5 seconds. Then also slapped him. What the hell are you saying? You mean I have to listen to you for you to go with me? Oh, you probably think that guy was beaten because of you, right? He was beaten because he's stupid, don't feel guilty or anything. The more he talked, the more he tortured Seok. Seeing his boss being beaten to a pulp, Gasu could not take it anymore. He knelt down and said tremblingly, Stop. I know who attacked the Silver Moon Guild. I know who that person is. Please have mercy. Cheon-seong, seeing this, was even more delighted. He laughed with a disgustingly ugly face. Haha, see, I just had to scare them a little and I'd get a good result, right? Back at Sang-woo's place, they were still searching. He ordered everyone to slow down a bit in this section. Be wary of your surroundings. It's strange that after a while since we encountered that monster, there are more and more corpses lying along the road. It's understandable why they left the corpses here because it's very difficult to retrieve them. But I can't figure out who could have massacred all these people. The team's position is right near their destination. Sang-woo issued a command to the clones. From now on, we will track the battle of the Vanguard team. They must be hiding somewhere near the battle site. The other side will check every day at 2 p.m., right? How many minutes do we have before... Before he could finish his sentence, he was attacked unexpectedly. Blood flowed, but luckily, Sang-woo managed to hold the attacker's hand. Then a monster rushed to attack him. He did not know what it was. Suddenly, he appeared unexpectedly, possibly due to an invisibility skill. Then things got even more chaotic. When a swarm of such monsters also gathered here, that explained the dead bodies. This was why the attack team could not enter the dungeon entrance Sang-woo, and everyone had failed to detect their presence earlier. And now the whole team was trapped in their trap. He threw the one attacking him away and slashed at the monster. The whole team will push to this side to counterattack. While fighting fiercely, they disappeared again. The situation now was that Sang-woo could not see them. His clones also had great difficulty blocking the attacks from those bastards. It seemed easier if he controlled the clones. He started to let number one control the body and observe. He had blocked it. It was thanks to the sound of the wind. They had reacted to the sound created by these monsters whenever they moved around. Gathering information, that was enough. Now he could copy them right now. But it was not necessary yet. Sangwoo still had a long way to go. Inside the subdimension where Yuna and her teammates were trapped, she looked very haggard. It's almost 2 p.m. We need to check the situation outside. Yuna wondered if the rescue team was here today, if everyone would have a little more hope. She trembled. She knew the 2 words hope would not come to them today. It would be the same as yesterday. Yuna was sure that the terrifyingly silent ice field would welcome them one more time. Suddenly she heard a sound. It seemed like this was a sign of a good start for Team 1. Back to Sangwoo's battle. 1 at 3 o'clock and 1 at 9 o'clock. There are 2 of them. He thought he could do it if he maintained it a little longer. They looked like they had super speed or excellent defense stats. Besides being invisible, they were not very dangerous. But there were so many of them. Sangwoo had to continuously dodge their attacks. Even small injuries could not be ignored when there were so many small injuries like this. The monsters kept rushing in their numbers countless. It was better to leave this place. He could not estimate if there were hundreds or thousands of them around here. Suddenly he saw Yuna's circle. It was the signal of the attack team. Sangwoo immediately ordered the clones to run there. Yuna had also seen a person outside. Everyone had also heard something. The whole team was in an uproar. A person had really come here to save them. But what was fine was that he had brought a whole swarm of monsters with him. Sangwoo was as happy as a pig in mud, because he was about to be saved. Team 1 quickly got into a fighting position to rescue him. In the end, the one who came to save was saved by the one being saved. It was so backward. The situation now could not waste any more time. The shield had formed a circle to protect everyone. The magic arrow skill was also activated. Countless arrows flew towards the monsters. Thanks to them, Sangwoo's side landed safely. Yuna quickly closed the entrance when the shield was removed. Sangwoo lay on the ground panting, "I am the rescue team for attack team 1. Although who saved whom was clear to everyone. Yuna asked if he was from the Canis Guild or what. Well, yes, but only half right. "I am Dong Sangwoo. I came here at the request of the Canis Guild Master Park Wante." "So he still hasn't abandoned them," Yuna shouted. "St. Is it Songtae?" Sangwoo guessed it was the guy in glasses who had escaped with the teleportation scroll. "He's alive, but as far as I know, he hasn't woken up yet." Seeing Yuna's worried expression, he felt that this girl really loved her teammates. "I'm sorry about that, but right now we need to get out of here first." Team leader Wante is waiting outside the entrance to Odin's tower. He's worried sick. "Don't make him wait any longer, it's too pitiful." He told everyone to get out of here. He had a teleportation scroll with him. Yuna hesitated a little. This made Sangwoo a little confused. She should be happy. Thinking back, it was not like that at all. 10 people entered, so there should be 9 left here. Yuna said tremblingly, "I know it's embarrassing to ask you for more, but please help us one more time. One of them died during this mission. They can't leave her in this godforsaken place." Sangwoo thought to himself, "So there are only 8 people left." "I thought so, after hearing the report that they had one injured. So there was one victim." He wondered what had happened. They had been ambushed. The team's priest at the back was stabbed on the spot. It happened too suddenly. No one could do anything, only torment themselves for not being able to protect her. When Sangwoo's side was ambushed, they also attacked him first. It seemed they would attack the weakest person in the team. When Sia was attacked, Yuna opened the dimension immediately and ordered everyone to retreat. She wanted to fight too, but if something happened to her, there would be nowhere for her team to hide. They had used a long-distance communication scroll to report. At that time, everything was chaotic, so they did not notice a monster had sneaked in. And in the end, the one who was attacked was St. That was when they lost all the other teleportation scrolls. If Yuna tried to escape, her dimension would close immediately, then the whole team would lose their safe haven, all the supplies would disappear, and everyone would be gone. Sangwoo asked where her teammate had fallen. It was quite far away. They could not bring her back while avoiding the monsters. Because of her dead teammate's body, Yuna had given up on escaping and decided to be stuck here for 6 months. He could not tell her to just go home and leave her teammate here. Sangwoo decided to go there and bring her body back right now. But he also had a condition. "The reason I'm here is to save everyone, not to increase casualties. If I see that it's not feasible, I will force everyone to escape. Second, only I and the clones will do it." Yuna objected, saying that was too dangerous. They were asking him for help while the whole team retrieved the body, not asking him to risk his life. "But it's not a joke. All the people here are not real people, but just clones." Yuna's eyes widened in astonishment. At the same time, Cheon-seong had attacked Junmo. He sat on him and said smugly, "I didn't expect it. A hunter who dared to mess with us is under your guild's command." Isn't being an enemy of Hung enough for you? You should have stayed hidden after being kicked out. He lifted his hand and started to interrogate him. Now I'll ask you one last time, what's that bastard's name? Junmo gritted his teeth and did not say a word. Cheon-song sighed and directly broke his arm. Junmo screamed in pain. Next will be the right hand. At this time, Gasu had also found Sang-woo's information sheet. His name is Dong Sang-woo, or Mr. Sang-woo lives in a very nice place around here. He ordered Gasu to send some kids there, bringing Park Junmo along. Outside, Yu Hyun had witnessed the event. She did not understand why that Silver Moon Guild was here. This was a terrible situation. Junmo looked extremely miserable, still gritting his teeth and asking, "Why are you looking for Hunter Dong Sang-woo? What's it about?" "Well, your hunter kicked some of our kids' asses. That's one of the reasons. Have you ever heard of crystal gems?" Junmo really did not know what that was. "Of course you're famous for being stubborn, so it's right that he didn't tell you. He stole all our crystal gems and ran away, you see. We're the victims here." Yoo-hyun was very surprised after hearing that. They thought Hunter Sang-woo had stolen those gems, while the one who did it all was her. On Sang-woo's side, he continued to explain about his clones. "As you can see, my clones are not simply bodies created by magic, so you don't have to worry about our lives. The plan will be as follows. Number 4 and Number 6 will hold the teleportation magic scrolls and stay here to guard the entrance of this dimension. Number 2 and Number 3 will go with me to retrieve the body and then return. Okay, that's it. It's very simple. Don't think about going out. The only important thing now is the safety of the attack team. I know everyone is also very strong. After all, they are the raid team of the Canis Guild. But my responsibility here is to bring everyone back safely. But you should reconsider. They are complaining that you were the one who provoked a bunch of monsters and ran straight towards them. But anyway, you've already planned for the case where everyone can't help, right? Ha ha ha. Let's get serious again, and that's our plan for now, so please trust me and wait here." Yuna could not say anything more. She reluctantly agreed. It had been 6 months since the gate incident. Sang-woo had dived headfirst into raising his stats like a god. Therefore, he had poured a large amount of gems into the clones to get this skill. He opened the information. Panel Monster Devourer level 12 absorbs the essence of a monster. 12% chance to absorb the monster's stats immediately after death. Thanks to it, Sang-woo was able to reach the stat level that the Canis Guildmaster wanted him to have. However, he had no intention of stopping here. Everything was ready. He would not hesitate at any opportunity, as long as it helped him become stronger. Sang-woo told Number 4 to lend him that knife.